Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. Boys and girls, I am sorts of excited to talk to you. The season's finally over. We can finally talk about some draft stuff, talk about some free agent stuff. Not that we haven't been talking about that for a while anyway. But now we can talk about it and not feel guilty that we got games on Sunday and things like that. We got a lot to talk about. We got to see Robert Saleh give a press conference. Aaron Rodgers gave a press conference today. They snuck a Joe Douglas press conference in there. They didn't even post any sort of stream that it was happening. They just posted it to the Jets website and then uploaded it 2 hours ago to their website or to YouTube. So I want to talk about all that. If this is your first time tuning into the call-in show, please make sure you hit that like button. And if you guys want to know, we're going to go to the phone lines. We're going to do this at 9:30. At 9:30, I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes on the clock when you call in. And then after 3 minutes...
That's it! You're out of here!
That's right. You get the chicken. So I'll give you guys some of my thoughts. We'll talk to the chat for a little bit. Then we'll jump over into some of the calls. I'm looking forward to it. I'm watching the national championship game right now. Michigan beaten up on Washington a little bit here at the beginning part of this game, 17-3. Washington just can't seem to get anything going. They had a wide open Odunze before, and Penix could not connect. J.J. McCarthy looking pretty good. Edwards, their running back, having a nice little day too. He's got, 2 touchdowns and 100 yards already. Wild. Wild. All right. So let me give you guys some of my thoughts of press conferences, end of season, stuff like that. So first off, season's finally over. How do I feel about the Patriots win? I'm kind of happy with it. I like it. I'm glad we got the monkey off our back. I know because of the way teams won and lost, we could have had the 6th pick, but I'm a little less concerned, I guess, because the Washington game was the one that really kind of stood out for me. This one, I feel like I could be proud of the Patriot game because of how Brees went off and how we finished the game. Where the Commanders game, I was really excited for the first half, and I wanted to win at halftime, and then it just kind of went sideways. So I'm not bummed about the draft position or anything like that. I put out, if you guys haven't watched, I did put out 5 guys that I think the Jets should consider with the 10th overall pick. I'm sure that will change as we get closer to draft time. We see the Senior Bowl, you get the Combine, interviews, pro days, all that good stuff. I see Jeremy in the chat. What up, Jeremy? I was just talking to you via DM. It's nice to see you in here. I want to go over Alan's. I call you Alan? Is it Alon? Alan? I've never seen Alan spelled that way. But he's got a really cool trade idea that I think is worth exploring as well. But overall, what do I think? Screw Bill Belichick. Send his ass out with the bathwater. Get him out of there. Fingers crossed, Josh McDaniels is held in high regard over in New England. I don't particularly want to go against Mike Vrabel if that's where he eventually ends up. I'll be honest. I think Vrabel is one of the better coaches in the league, and I would prefer him go to an NFC team, if anything. But overall, the Jets are keeping everyone. Everyone's coming back. Even the offensive line coach. To me, if I'm looking at Keith Carter and Downing and Calabrese and all these guys are coming back, that tells me definitively that this entire regime and probably the players to some degree feel like it's definitely Zach Wilson's fault. There's no way. All the press conferences we heard today, there is no way I feel like Zach Wilson is coming back. Now, Douglas did play the little coy game of, well, we're going to do what's best for the organization, and maybe there's no trade offer for Zach, or not one that he deems worthy enough, because you are going to need a backup quarterback. That maybe he wouldn't, but I would be very surprised. The comments that Rodgers said today, where he mentioned, if Zach wants to be here, I would love to have him here. Sometimes a clean break is the way to go. That tells me all I need to know. Zach is not going to be here for next year. And it just is what it is. And if the coaching staff feels like he's the major problem, and you got to see the offensive line look not quite so terrible with Trevor Siemian under center, maybe the decisiveness of the decision-making is what's going to help our offensive line that much more. I mean, look at Tua. Tua down in Miami, they don't have like a great offensive line, or at least they didn't coming into the season, and he's getting the ball out in like under 2 seconds. Talking about a real choke job, Miami. Oh, giving up the division of Buffalo. Never felt so good. Never felt so good. Now they got to go into Kansas City. 15-degree weather for Kansas City. Miami's like, I think they're like 0-7 in games under 40 degrees. Nothing would make me happier than to watch the Dolphins get one and done in the playoffs after choking away the division. And the only thing that could make me a little bit happier would be if they gave a monster extension to Tua. He's going into his 5th-year option. He's going to be about $23 million. So do they let him play it out and then use the franchise tag on him? I think that's probably the smarter move to do with him. Or will they give him a big contract, something like $40+ million a year? I think Josh Allen's sitting at 43. Watson's around 46, like on average. It's going to be interesting. Going to be very interesting. Now, in terms of like, what do we do from here? What happens? Well, I think the retention of Carter and Downing might lend some helpfulness to landing someone like a Ryan Tannehill. Maybe that's something that he would welcome at this point in his career. I'm sure he views himself as a starter, but I think he'll be realistic and not necessarily, like, he'll know he's not getting starting money anywhere. So how much would he cost as a backup? That's not a bad option. I could live with Tannehill as a backup. I would love Brissett. Brissett's my guy. Brissett and Minshew. Those are the two I would prefer to get, but I don't think the Jets are going to be able to attract them. You see Garrett Wilson? Garrett Wilson changed number 5 finally. It's been a long time coming. Long time coming. He told us, last year? Was it last year? I think it was last year. Or over the summer this year. That he would be changing his number to 5 and thus opening the door for number 17 to become available. There's a receiver over in Vegas that might be interested in that number 17. Is Davante Adams going to end up a New York Jet? It's going to be fascinating to see because I don't necessarily love the Davante Adams edition. It kind of hinges on how much you got to give up. And I am concerned based on how Douglas was talking. He realizes he has to win. I really liked the Douglas press conference. I think he took a lot of ownership over what went wrong and acknowledged hey, I need to put these guys in a better position to win. I need to get the coaching staff, the players they need, or work around these different things. I respect Joe Douglas for that because I gave him a lot of crap for not, obviously he doesn't have any obligation to speak to the fans mid-season, but I feel like Robert Saleh was kind of the bullet sponge for a lot of the questions. And I just don't, I'm glad Douglas took ownership. I'm glad the way the conversations kind of went. I thought it was pretty insightful. I took a few notes of the Douglas press conference. Let me just see what I had. Took ownership. Don't repeat mistakes. He said that a lot of times. Not as far away as it looks. That's what Salah's been kind of preaching as well. He thought we had the backup quarterback in place. Zach's future, whatever is best for the team. Open to trading him. If the phone rings, he will answer. I'm curious to see where he winds up going. I've heard people talk about Minnesota. Could you imagine a situation where if Justin Jefferson isn't getting paid, and I don't know what it would cost to get him. You got to think it's got to be 2 first-round picks. But could you trade someone like Danielle Hunter's getting up there in age? Could you trade tag and trade a Huff, a Zach Wilson, and the 10 pick to get someone like Justin Jefferson? Or what Allen's talking about, I should have looked to see if that's actually how you pronounce your name. If you're going to call in later, let me know how you say your name so I don't jack it up. If you look up Allen's trade, Allen wants to trade the 10 pick and Bryce Huff to the Chargers, who are more than likely going to lose Khalil Mack and move up to number 5 and then land Joe Alt or Olu Fashanu. Now, I think some of that may hinge a little bit on if quarterbacks fall and they can trade out for a little bit more of a haul. What do they want to get in terms of their offensive line needs or maybe a tight end need. Like I could see the Chargers going after like a Bowers or a tackle. In my mind, I see certain teams that could go after the two linemen. And if the Chargers go tight end, then that pushes the tackle probably down to the Jets. And I would think Fashanu would be the one that's more likely to fall. Arizona. Arizona's an interesting team. If Marvin Harrison Jr. is there, I think they'll take him. If Marvin Harrison Jr. goes 1 to the Bears, then I think they might go tackle. It's fascinating to see. There's a lot of players that I'm actually like really interested in. And as I started to go through my draft process, I was up till like 4 a.m. with that video. And of course it gets flagged for like one teeny tiny, like 10-second clip of, copyrighted highlight footage. Bastards. Demonetized my whole damn video. That's all right. But it's cool. I've been doing a bunch of research. Dom C has a really cool draft guide out that I don't know if he's made it public to anyone, but he shared it with Matt Greenbean and I, and it's really good. Jeremy's in the group chat with us. We're all talking about like these different prospects. Jeremy's real high on the Colorado State tight end. He says, screw Bowers. Sorry, Jeremy. Throwing you on the bus. Very excited. What's up, Blitz Crew? He says, Tua's got to get paid more than Daniel Jones. How about Tyrod as a backup? Thoughts on Malik Willis or Drew Lock as young people to develop? So I'm not very high on Malik Willis or Drew Lock. So I would probably pass on both of them. But Tyrod Taylor's interesting. I would be all right with Tyrod. He doesn't have to move cities. If he's not going to be the backup for Daniel Jones next year, then maybe he comes over by us. I would be cool with that. I think he's like baseline steady Eddie quarterback. Like I don't think he's necessarily like a great quarterback. I mean, obviously not a great quarterback. If he's a great quarterback, he'd be starting somewhere. But I could live with Tyrod for sure. And as far as Tua's got to get paid more than Daniel Jones, I agree. I think $40 million is kind of like where I sort of saw it, and I think $40 million is what Daniel Jones got. I think he got 4 years, $40 million a year. Let's see. What are you guys talking about in the chat here? Scroll up a little bit. Red John says, let's trade up and jump the Pats. No, I don't want to do that. Get out of here. Get out of here. Wild Wave says, nah, we need Penix stock up. Yeah, so if Washington wins, I didn't even see Washington scored 10-17 just before halftime. If we can get Penix to sneak into the top 10, I think we're definitely getting Williams, May, and Daniels. Penix, because the injuries, I feel like it's a little bit of a stretch. Like, I know people project him going to Atlanta, but if I was Atlanta, I'd be trading for either Justin Fields, bring him home to Georgia, or I would go hard after Kirk Cousins. And I think if I were Kirk, I would love to end up in a dome in the AFC South where you are playing in good weather Carolina, good weather Tampa Bay, and then you're in a dome for the Saints and for the Falcons. This is like exactly the situation that he found himself in Minnesota. I think that would, well, actually better situation because you're not going to Green Bay and you're not going to Chicago. That's where I could see those guys going. But Penix moving up the board would be huge for the Jets. Cole says, will you go over Joe Douglas's press conference? So I think that's probably an older comment, but yeah, I touched on some of it. He still wants to go best player available. I think that's a tip of the hand. Bowers has grown on me. I'm not a big tight end guy in the first round, but Bowers, it's almost a shame he's listed as a tight end because this dude is every bit a swing tackle and a wide receiver. This guy is really impressive from everything that I've watched. And if Fashanu and Alt are not there, I would totally endorse going after Bowers. I think that would be a lot of fun. And I think it's a cool situation. Imagine an offense with Garrett Wilson. You find a way to get Davante Adams. Let's say you give him the 2025 second round pick as a placeholder for me not knowing what it would actually cost. Garrett Wilson, Davante Adams, and then you have either Lazard as your third or you go out and you find another receiver that you like as your third. There's a few guys. I think is Agnew available in Jacksonville? I don't know what he plays. He's stupid fast, though. He's a kick returner, too. I'd have to look into like his stats. I want someone that could be our wide receiver 3. I've heard a lot of people say Curtis Samuel's a good option there. Darnell Mooney, someone I would really like to take a look at. I don't know how much he's going to cost, but someone that could take the top off of a defense. And then you have Bowers and Conklin and Ruckert, who maybe could do like the H-back role and fill in for like a Bowers, or not for Bowers, for a Bawden. That would be cool. I would sign up for that all damn day. Now you got to figure out how to do the offensive line, though. That's a big thing. And Joe Douglas did acknowledge. He did say, where is it? I had it on here. He thinks we have a few cornerstone players on the offensive line. You would imagine that to be AVT and Tippmann, but it leaves some wiggle room for Becton. Maybe if Rodgers really likes Becton, and I think, Jeremy, were you the one telling me about this earlier today? I think you were. If Rodgers really likes Becton, then maybe Becton is right tackle, and then AVT maybe is left tackle, and then maybe you draft someone in the middle rounds, or you bring in someone else. I don't know. I don't really want to rely on Becton, I'll be honest. As a backup, that's fine, but I feel like he can get a low-end starting job somewhere. Alan says Huff will be tagged and traded. So here's the interesting thing. So when asked about the franchise tag, Joe Douglas did not commit to saying, he said we're not at that point yet. So he's obviously going to try and work out a much cheaper deal because the franchise tag is going to be $19.4 million. And the issue the Jets run into is I don't think they really want to have Huff on the franchise tag, because if they tag him, they will want to trade him. But if I'm Bryce Huff, I don't want to do any favors to the New York Jets. I'm 100% going to sign that franchise tag, and I will just say I am not negotiating a long-term deal with anyone. I wouldn't do it at all. Bryce Huff was an undrafted free agent. He's going to get $19.4 million fully guaranteed. That is life-changing money. If I were Huff, I would gamble. Take the franchise tag and either force someone to give you a fat deal that you really want, or roll into next offseason and hit unrestricted free agency and get whatever you want. It's almost like the Kirk Cousins side of things, except on the defensive side. That's what I would do with Huff. But if you do that, you tie up $19.4 million and you can't use it. It's just locked into the Jets cap. So it really puts us at a disadvantage. So if we try to tag and trade him, as much as I think he's worth a second-round pick to someone, if he's not willing to negotiate a trade, we might have to trade him for less to a team that would want to have him on the one-year franchise tag. Or does he just want the financial security and wants, just a modest deal from someone else? Probably not the Jets. He's not going to give us a hometown discount. He's not going to give anyone a hometown discount because he's earned it. And Joe Douglas and the way he's handled the situation, I don't particularly like, because hit him with a second-round tender last year, basically said, hey, we want another team to give us a second-round pick for you. You're not worth the first-round tender and the little bit of extra money that you could have, benefited from. We had a little bit of extra money in the bank, but we decided you're not that important. Oh, and by the way, we're going to draft your replacement too, Will McDonald. Would you want to give the Jets any discount? Fuck no. If I'm Bryce Huff, I'm not helping out at all. Ugh. Savano says G5 making room for Devontae Adams, 17. He is. Let's see. Caden says Bowers has grown on me also. That is who I want. Yeah. I am actually, I see your other comment up here too. Yeah. Bowers, Fuaga would be one of those two that I would want at 10. Bowers has the ability to go earlier than us for sure. I don't think Fuaga is going to go ahead of the Jets. I think we're getting Fashanu if he falls, or Fuaga. I'm excited to see what he does at the Senior Bowl. I don't know if he's actually going to play in the game, but the lead up and how practices go are going to be important for him in his draft stock. He faced the 83rd strength of schedule, so I think that's the only thing that you might give him a little bit of a knock on for right now. Blitzcrew says PFF still has Fashanu, Alt, and sometimes both available at our pick when I use their mock draft simulator. So I would be surprised. I mean, maybe if you can get one of the two, I'd be very happy, because those are stud left tackles. And I think AVT's role in this offense and offensive line is going to shift based on how we handle our free agency and our draft. So if you get the left tackle in free agency, you can. Well, I don't think there's a left tackle out in free agency that you're really going to want to get. Like, I don't necessarily want Bakhtiari. I would like Tyron Smith. I don't know if he's necessarily going to shake free or if he'd want to come to New York. I almost called it Green Bay. Would he want to do that? Then maybe you draft a tackle a little bit later, and then it's not as pressing. You let him develop for a year or two. If we get someone like Jonah Williams, then maybe AVT moves over to the left-hand side. I'd love to keep him at guard, honestly, but I think because of his cap hit for his fifth-year option, I think it's just going to be a necessity to put him at tackle. Alan says, Blitz, I don't see Alt or Fashanu getting past 7. That's like my mindset is definitely aligned with Alan's. I think regardless of how many mock drafts you wind up doing, I find myself going back into that same cyclical situation. Ooh, which reminds me, by the way, let me see if they've updated it before I say it out loud. I'm going to do another mock draft contest this year. I'll give away a jersey to someone. And it doesn't have to be a Jet jersey. It could be any jersey that, if you're a non-Jet fan and you're hanging out in the chat for some reason, would love to have you in here. Let's see. Did they update it yet? They have. All right, cool. So I can actually drop the link. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pin this in the chat. I think did I not set this up? I may not have set it up. Oh, there it is. All right, we're good. I want to invite friends. I'm going to copy the link. Oh, bastard. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go into my own live chat. Watch this. I'm going to go into my own live chat from my phone. And then I'll pin it that way. That's a silly way to do this, but that's all right. All right. So if you guys want to do a mock draft contest, it's going to be one round. We'll give away a jersey to whoever's right. The mock out contest is going to, all right. So it's a pinned comment in the chat. If you guys want to join it, I literally just made it. I haven't even made my mock draft yet. And you can update your mock as many times as you want up until draft day. It locks on the day of the draft, not the time of the draft. So make sure you have it all squared away. I would say by a day before. Or 2 days before, just so it doesn't lock you out. But it's totally free. Doesn't cost you anything to do, and we can have a lot of fun with it. It's going to be a good time. I didn't do it last year. I think I did 2 years ago. The last time I did it, maybe 2 times ago I did it. I was in like the top 2% of mock drafts in the app overall, not just my contest, like global for that. So I was feeling pretty good about myself. Feeling it a little bit. Let's see. Let me pull that off screen. All right. So you guys know that's pinned in the live chat. Let's go through a few more comments. And then in 3 minutes, I'll go over to the phone lines. I've got a few guys on the line already. I got Lima Bean, Johnny, Charles, and Jake on the line. I'm excited to talk to you guys, see what you guys have to say about our season and everything going on. I don't know what your trade is, Wildway. Bro, I'd rather do my trade than trade for Devontae. I don't particularly want Devontae Adams, I'll be honest. Thinks it'll be a second for Devontae. Yeah, I think it'll be a second-round pick next year. That's sort of what I feel like. Cole says, Ryan, in your opinion, since Zach most likely will be traded, who do you want as our third string? Do you want to draft a quarterback or go all out on offensive linemen and receivers for the draft? I do want to draft a quarterback. I would wait until probably like the 4th round, and that's purely because I would like to utilize our 3rd round pick for someone that I think we can use this year, because ideally the quarterback that we draft in, say, the 4th, 5th, whatever round, sits for 2 years as quarterback 3. That would be my hope. Who I want, I don't necessarily know yet. The kid from FSU, very enticing. You know, I would consider third round if one of like Ewers or someone like that sort of fell and you're enticed with him. I don't know where he's ultimately going to go. I haven't done any reconnaissance on the quarterbacks yet, I'll be honest. Nathan says, get Rodgers a true deep threat like Odunze or someone in free agency. So Darnell Mooney's the one I would like to take a look at. I don't think he's going to be super expensive, and he's real fast. I would love to bring him in. I love Odunze, but you're going to have to use number 10 on him if he makes it to you. And I think I would prefer to address wide receiver, or at least maybe like I would like to address wide receiver in free agency, realistically. There's a lot of good options out there. So that's where I would prefer to go with that. Wildwave says, negatives to Devontae, 31 years old, messes with the cap in 2025, can't pay our core 4 players. No, that's actually not true. So if you trade for Devontae, I would assume you'd rework his contract anyway to align him with 2 years of Rodgers. But he'd really be on a 1-year, $17.5 million deal, and then you would cut him after 2024. So it's just a matter of if you want to commit to more than the 1 year. You might do 1 year. Actually, I would do 2 years. I would restructure it and drop his cap hit for this year. I think that's probably the way you'd want to go. Simon says Saints are going to have a fire sale, $90 million over the cap. The Saints are always over the cap. The cap is a total fucking myth, 100%. I love the salary cap, and I'm like a super nerd on it. But like the Saints are incredible as to how they get under the cap consistently. Feels like they shouldn't. David D says, Ryan, when's the next 3 and Out? So it was going to be tonight, but because the national championship game is on, and actually one of our contestants for 3 and Out is in Houston. It's a Houston Texans YouTuber, and he lost power. There's a major power outage in Houston, so he wasn't even able to come on. So when I was on the roundtable at 6 o'clock with Richie and the guys, we talked a little bit beforehand. I was like, hey, Richie, I think maybe we save this till Thursday. So I think Thursday is going to be the next roundtable, next 3 and Out over on Roundtable Sports. And it should be better quality because I'm actually going to be streaming the way I stream this show, not the way I've had to kind of be sort of forced to do the other show. But it should be a lot better. Devin says, Ryan, what the hell not watching the national championship? I am watching it. I got it right on there. But I'll be honest, I'm paying attention to you guys more than I am the game. I'm just glancing up. I'm like, holy crap. Washington was up, 10-17. I did not see anything that's gone on, though, so if something's going in. Awesome LA says, can I still call in? Yes, you can. So let's do this. We are at the 9:30 mark. I'm going to go to your phone line. Go to the phone lines. Before I do want to acknowledge the sponsor of the channel. If you guys would like to try and win a little bit of money as we go through postseason, you don't necessarily have to be betting on the Jets, but if you want to help support the channel, doesn't cost you anything in terms of like monthly fees or anything like that. You can just gamble whatever you want to gamble, and then you actually get up to $100 first-time deposit match from Underdog Fantasy. I've had a lot of fun with the prop bets with it. I'd actually, I do play it without them actually sponsoring me, but if you guys do it and you use my code Jets247, they'll continue to sponsor the channel. I get to keep making more content more consistently because eventually my ass has got to go back to work. Paternity leave only lasts so long, boys and girls. Only lasts so long. But yeah, Jets 24/7 over at Underdog Fantasy. Link is in the description down below as well. All right, let's head over to the phone lines. QR code is on the screen if you'd like to do that. If you want to join the mock draft contest, that's pinned in the live comment. Over to Lima Bean first. Lima Bean, how you doing, dude?
Good. It's been an interesting day. Just seeing how sports radio was and all the other stuff. Just, I don't know. I found it kind of funny how, no matter what the Jets do, they get bashed. But compared to the Giants, who their coach just ousted, Wink Martindale gets under the rug, like just kind of like, they mentioned it. But our mathematicians get blasted for the Brees Hall incident, which, bad. But like, are you kidding? Like that, if we had the reverse happen, that would be the height of dysfunction going on with the coaches fighting amongst themselves. Like,
yeah, it's a little goofy. The whole mathematician thing was weird. I think the Jets, I don't know.
I mean, it was a screw up, but like in the end, I don't care too much about that. I care about the
Nah.
team as a whole. But like, if the coaches were fighting amongst themselves and they don't like,
Mm.
players apparently don't like Dayball, the coaches don't like Dayball. He forced Wink to
Oh, see,
like
I haven't listened
resign.
to a whole lot of stuff. That's interesting. I
You
like
didn't know
Dayball a
this?
lot. No, I
No,
knew Wink got ousted.
Dayball
I didn't realize it was like a whole like
Dable
contentious thing. I know
fired
Wink
Wink's two
resigned.
right hand men who Wink is very close with, and Wink resigned on the spot. And this was just
Wow.
only glanced and talked about, and then the rest was like, "Oh, the Jets suck." Like
Yeah, of
I
course.
don't know.
We sell eyeballs and all that. That's what it is.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny. The Giants were worse than us. They got blown out worse than us, and had so many other problems. But I don't know. But I don't think it's been doom and gloom for a while. I get that, but I think with a key few additions, even post Rodgers, there's like I was thinking. Look at the 2013 Kansas City Chiefs when they got Andy Reid. They
Mhm,
had Alex Smith and no real future. He built the team around, made him
mhm,
strong, and then when he got his quarterback, he had an environment where he could develop a quarterback. So. I would say we draft a quarterback next year. Hopefully, Aaron Rodgers gets that
mhm,
second year starting for us, develop him that year. But
mhm,
yeah, my whole philosophy is stock the cupboards, really
mhm,
focus on offense, and then we don't have it's everyone thinks this is our window. We got 1 year, maybe
mhm,
two, and then we blow it up. We don't have to blow it up. We just keep our blue chip guys and keep the
mhm.
train rolling. Like
Yeah,
instead of
well, that
trading them away.
so I agree. My biggest concern is what Douglas might have to do with his back against the wall. And if he
Yeah,
starts, because we have like $100 million, I think,
but
in
the Saints
2025.
prove the cap is a myth.
Oh no,
So
I understand that. But to some degree, if you like when you're in panic mode and you have to make everything work, I'm worried we're
well,
going to
like I
start
said,
trading
this
away
year,
2025 picks that I would like to spend
if
on
if
keeping
you
our
can
team
do
together.
it if you can do it within reason, I don't
Sure.
mind. But like I said, within reason. That being said, I think we should, for like offensively, like fix this team for the following year. Free agency for the offensive line because you don't know how these guys are going to develop on the O line. It takes a year too. Like even DeBrickashaw Ferguson took a while. But
Yeah.
besides that, yeah, like it's not so much. We just have to do the right things in the front, like the off season, and we can
Mm.
do it. Like there's a lot to do, but like Peyton Manning came off of neck like fusion surgery, and people are like a word about Aaron Rodgers, the paragon of health. But Peyton Manning, who couldn't move for a whole year, like nobody. Do you want to know something funny? And Tom Brady's
Mhm.
backup was Blaine Gabbert and the Buccaneers. Blaine Gabbert was Zach Wilson before Zach Wilson. You know, and like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were so lucky that Tom Brady nothing happened to him, of
Oh
course.
yeah.
But but
Well,
like
that's
it's
I mean that's
only
kind of
us.
around the league too, because I'm pretty sure didn't Peyton Manning's back wasn't that Brock Osweiler, or did they get him
That was only in
afterwards?
after that was in his third year where they drafted him too. Like so, his
Yeah, yeah.
first 2 years he was like a nobody as a backup. The thing is,
Oh
they
yeah.
just they got lucky that they didn't get injured.
They
That's the
traded away
biggest thing.
Tebow, and I don't remember who their backup was at that time. But Lima Bean, I love you so much, but you've been ejected from the cockpit.
That's it. You're out of here.
Thank you for calling in. Let's go over to Johnny. How you doing, brother?
Hey, what up, man? What's going on, dude?
Hanging in there,
Hey,
like the Knicks have.
hey, yeah, go Knicks. Hey, when you get Charles on here, you need to ask him about his famous mom's chicken soup recipe. We're all
Ooh,
trying to figure out what it is, and he won't spill the beans on it.
I feel
But
like he's not going to spill the beans because there's 130 people watching right now.
he might.
Everyone's going to know his mom's secret recipe.
But
I'll try.
hey,
I'll try to convince him.
we got that shriek that needed to be off. I mean,
Mhm.
people are losing their minds and saying that we effed up the draft and all that. Look, man,
Nah, look. Once we won against the Commanders, I'm not blowing my top. My stack was blown because of the way we won against the Commanders, and that was real. That was the critical pick. And then I mean, this game would have been super critical. If we wound up losing this game, I'd be so much more angry because that means we lost the number 2 pick and got the 6th pick. I'd much rather have the 10th pick, beat the Patriots, and yeah, I guess that's a weird way to say it. I should want the
there's
draft pick.
so many draft picks that are out there that we could choose from. We have no idea. I feel like we should go offensive line, but to
Yep.
say that we blew it on a franchise left tackle is kind of bonkers because
Mhm.
that was talked about Evan Neal last year, right? That he
Oh
was
yeah,
supposed
Evan Neal, Ike Ekwonu
he,
stink.
there was yeah, they were supposed to be the standard at that position and everything, and look how crap they've played. So we don't know. It is what it is. They're coming back. I'm glad they're coming back, to be honest with you. I did not want to break up JD or Salah. I feel like Salah at least deserves 1 year with a competent quarterback and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers will make that line look a lot better. People do not get the concept of from center to the quarterback's hand, get it out of there. I mean, look what Joe Flacco's doing over there in Cleveland right now.
He's getting the ball out fast. Tua got the ball out fast all year.
Exactly. So, look, I think for next year, the playoff mandate is a must. They know it. I'm excited. I honestly hope we go back and we sign Huff. And we need to keep our guys, man. We need to keep that, and that'll give the incentive for the other players like Wilson, Ross, and all that to go ahead and stay with us, man. But Happy New Year. Find out Charles's chicken soup. It's still JETS, man. We're gonna go ahead and it is what it is, man. Hey, I'm looking forward to the next season now, man, because that's all I got to be going ahead and.
So that's all right. I don't mind rotating through. I gotta watch a little more basketball. I'm like so dialed into football all the time. I really don't watch like a lot of other sports. I enjoy the Knicks. I would say I enjoy the Yankees. I root for the Mets too, but I'm not really a baseball fan. And then I'm a Ranger fan. So like,
I'm on the same teams. The only team that I have that does well is our Georgia Bulldogs. Other than that,
I don't have a favorite college team. I do that specifically, one, so I have some better analysis on draft prospects without me being like a fan of a particular player. It probably, if I was hyper focused on one team, I'd probably have some better nuanced takes on some of the maybe lesser known guys. But I enjoy watching all of college football and like being able to sit back and watch this and be like, wow, this is really good. As opposed to being like, I'm sure you're a little bent out of shape that Georgia did not make the Final Four.
Oh yeah, dude, that shit suck. But hey, if Brock Bowers is there, I mean, that's look. I don't.
Dude, I like Bowers. Tigo and Dom C, and I think Jeremy were the three that were trying to get me on him earlier. And like, dude, as I've been watching, Bowers is good.
He changes the game, man, when he's in there. But we're not just one player away from fixing some of the problems we got. We need a lot.
I agree.
So yes, Jets. Let's go, guys.
Johnny, you've been ejected from the cockpit. I got Charles, then Jake, then Lassell on the line, and I got Mike the Barber calling in as well. I saw something pop up in the chat that I wanted to address. Give me 1 second. I thought I saw it in here. I like this one. Thoughts on Morstead saying he's giving away Garrett Wilson's number 5. Are they hinting at Davante Adams? Yes. I mean, well, Garrett Wilson's number in college was 5 anyway. And I think, obviously number 17 being available is, symbolic, attractive for Davante Adams. Obviously they were talking about him in Vegas. We've been linked to him basically since the whole Aaron Rodgers rumors started coming up. I think, yes. I commented on Morstead's post too, and I said, can you change your number next year? I know he's not under contract yet, but can you change your number next year from 5 to just the GOAT emoji? I just want to see, maybe not even just the GOAT emoji. Maybe it's a GOAT, but the GOAT's punting a football. Something like that. Custom emoji. They already added the 0. Just add a GOAT emoji punting a football. Right? I would buy a jersey like that. But I like seeing the number switch. Blitzkrieg says, secret to a great 2024, bring back the flight crew. God, I don't really care. Like the cheerleaders are cool, I guess, but I don't know. We stunk with them, stunk without them. I guess I don't have a whole lot of, I don't care so much. All right, let's head over to Charles. Charles, how you doing, brother? What's your mom's recipe?
Oh my God, I knew that shit was coming.
I'm cutting right to the chase. Give me one item in it.
Chicken.
Ah, damn it. That didn't work out the way I planned. That's all right.
Chicken, linguine, type of noodles, spaghetti noodles.
Oh, I know linguine.
Carrots, celery. And
kind
pretty good broth.
Yeah, broth. Vegetable-based broth, bone-based broth. What kind of broth are we talking?
I don't know exactly what type of broth it is. I apologize,
secret broth.
Yeah, I guess it's secret. Anyway, how you feeling tonight, Ryan?
I'm doing all right. I'm enjoying watching the game right now, which I actually just realized.
Penix looks good, man. I'm very impressed with the young man.
He looks good. He didn't look great through the first part of the game. at least from the
Yeah,
part I
but
watched. I missed
the
probably the
difference
first like
is-
10 minutes of it. Realistically, I was cooking dinner and I turned it on. I thought it was 8
Oh,
o'clock
you
start.
good?
Not
Good for you,
7:30.
man. You're doing better than me. Tell you that much. Uh, anyway, what makes quarterbacks separates quarterbacks from others is their poise and composure. And Penix never really lost his composure to me.
That is really cool to watch. It's really good. Like every time he gets blitzed, he doesn't look flustered. Or at least he didn't look that way in the last game last week.
I heard he just threw a pick, but anyway,
You
Brees
must be ahead
Hall is
of me,
amazing.
'cause I
Brees
have
Hall
not
is
seen it.
amazing. I think he should be nominated for comeback player of the year.
Oh,
I mean, the
by
guy
the way, Brees quote tweeted me today. I was pumped.
that's fantastic, dude.
I said, I
And-
was like, how Flacco and Hamlin are considered favorites for comeback player of the year, and Brees Hall has 1,500 yards and 9 touchdowns is asinine to me.
Well,
Absolutely
Flacco,
insane.
well, Hamlin never really played this year, so forget him.
Hamlin didn't play, and Flacco's got, what, 5 games to his name? And what did he come back from? He came back from being on our team. That's not, like, it sucks. It's more of a diss towards us than anything else.
He not only came back from our team, he came back at home being a family man. And by the way, I know I'm going to get shit on by a lot of Matt Ryan fans, but I've always liked Joe Flacco more than Matt Ryan.
Yeah,
I've
that's always
always
been in the
felt-
conversation, right? Like Flacco versus Ryan. I liked Matt Ryan for a long time. And
Don't get me wrong, I like Matt Ryan. He was a very good quarterback, very polished quarterback. But the thing is, I think Ryan Clark, who I think is a pretty good analyst on ESPN, brought this up. For the first 5 years of his career, he had to practice against Ray Lewis, Haloti Ngata, Terrell Suggs, and Ed Reed. And
Oh, yeah.
twice he had to go up against James Harrison, Lamar Woodley, Troy Polamalu, and Ryan Clark. Oh, and James Ferrier.
Oh, yeah.
If that did not make him a better quarterback, I don't know what the hell did. Anyway, I'm going to
Dude,
go watch the game. Peace out, dude.
Take it easy, Charlie. You've been ejected
That's it. You're
from
outta
the
here.
cockpit. All right, let's go over to Jake. Jake, how you doing, brother?
How you doing, man?
Hanging in there. How you feeling about season being over? Press conferences that happened today. Where's your mind at now?
Thank God the season's over. I don't
Right
really,
there.
I didn't really care about what anyone says because there's only 2 things I care about between now and September is get offensive linemen and Rodgers be on the field week 1.
Yep.
I'll be honest with you, Ryan. I'm going to be very blunt this offseason. Like, I'm not
Sure.
going to be like praising every decision we make and
Mhm.
calling out the highlights. It's like I'm tired of like doing this like, rah rah fan crap. It's like it's time to start winning, or like what's the point of this?
Yeah, no,
I
100%.
know it takes
It's
away
gonna
the
be
fun of
very
being a
hard to
fan,
get the
but it's
same
just
energy
like,
that I had last year for Rodgers coming back to have the same energy this year, knowing it's the same regime, it's the same problems we had last year. You got Rodgers 1 year older coming off a major injury. Like, it's going to be very hard for me to get as excited as I was this past year.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get as excited. It's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. We're going to sign someone stupid in free agency. I'll be like, oh, this is great. This guy had this one play this one time, and it was amazing. And then I'll go off the deep end.
Yeah,
Prepping.
I or like some people in this group will probably think we should like draft Michael Penix, and I'm just gonna laugh my ass off thinking that's a good idea.
No, do you think
No.
he goes like, I don't think he cracks the top 10. I'd be a little surprised. I think the injury is going to
He's gonna get overdrafted, dude. I watched him in Indiana. He was terrible. Like he just went to a Pac-10 team to pad his stats, and he's on a team right. Look, they beat Texas, great, wonderful, but Penix has no consistency to show you that like he's gonna be a franchise quarterback at all. Like I would rather wait another year and like go after Quinn Ewers. Like Quinn Ewers will be a star in the league.
Is
would
he not coming out this year? Did he return?
No, he's coming back next year.
I knew there was
it's good
rumors he
news.
might come out, and it wasn't.
Well, it's bad news for Texas in a way because Arch is going to leave. I
Yeah,
mean, he's not going to
definitely
be on the
transfer.
bench for 2 years. Screw that. He's gonna go play for Uncle Peyton's school or something like that, or who knows? Maybe Alabama will like tell Milrose, screw you, we're going to bring him in. So
That would be wild.
yeah, I don't think it's crazy. I mean, look, I mean that my team just got Will Howard from Kansas State. I was hoping Arch would come, but whatever. That's a whole nother topic. But look, I just what this whole off season is going to be something where they better like I wanted a higher draft pick because everyone's going to overdraft these quarterbacks and give you that. We need to get a second round pick back after the Rodgers trade. So if
Dude,
everyone's
that's
talking
what
about
killed me
Devontae-
about the Commanders win is like we could have had the 2 pick if you wound up tanking the right way. And I know you can't ask players and coaches to tank, but like if it just so happened to break that way, going from 2 to 10, you're talking like 2-3 first round picks. Like that's a large amount of draft capital that we just gave away for some moral fucking victories.
No, and people will talk about the Washington game like, oh, we beat the Redskins. It's like, let's think about this. They almost lost to the Redskins, giving up, like, was it 20-something points at the end of the game? So it's not like they really won the game. It's basically they played to not lose the game, essentially. So it's not like they really improved. And also yesterday's game, I didn't even watch it again because it was such, I mean, what was it? Field goal after field goal after
Field
it's
goal.
like
Brees
so
looked awesome.
How did the
it was
team
fun
get
watching
better?
Brees.
How did the team get better in the last 5 weeks? Can you just
They
let's sum that up?
It's
How did they get
total
better?
window dressing. It's total crap. Whatever Robert Saleh is trying to sell right now, there is no way the team got better aside from like Brees getting a lot of yards. Like that's exciting, yeah. But Nania had a tweet about it, and I let me see if I bookmarked it. You can keep going on. I'm just gonna see if I could find the tweet from Nania.
No, I feel like us as fans, like we obviously look. I think the second you heard the news about they're all coming back, like that was their one way to just say, you know what, let's just boot it because we could all lose 49-0. Woody's still going to bring them all back. So what would we justify? It's not like we were like, hey, I'm going to like my. All right, you know what? I'm going to take a step back for a second. Go ahead. Just say what you're going to say.
I found the tweet. So this was posted January 3rd. So this is before the final game of the season. But Robert Saleh said the offense is improving. So Nania goes, the Jets' improving offense over the past 4 games is averaging 11 points per game on drives that did not start in opponent's territory. 30 points versus Houston. They shut out in the first half, and 9 of their points came on field goals, where they were already set up in field goal range and had negative yards on the drives. Really only scored 21 points. Still a decent number comparatively. 0 points at Miami. Short week for Miami after Will Levis put 28 on them in the same building. Next week, 30 points versus Washington. Facing the 32nd ranked defense, they scored first 17 points on drives that started in Washington territory. They finished with only 13 points when they started on their own side of the field. Only had 3 points in the second half. Overall, they had 16 possessions in that game, and only one of them went for 50-plus yards. And then against the Browns, we got 20 points. 7 of that came on a defensive touchdown. 3 were on a drive set up in field goal range, so they actually only had 10 points. So as much as they're saying, oh, look at the points that we had, and the offense is doing better, it's not actually doing better when you look at like some finer metrics and how things go. Now, Breece Hall did look good, and he did have, I think it was like 400 or 500 yards over the last, I think it was 3 weeks. So props to him, but, you know, offense doing better, I'm not so sure.
You know what? I didn't really watch the press conferences, but I saw one clip of Garrett Wilson today where he said this can't happen again. Let me tell you something right now. You don't think he's watching his buddy C.J. Stroud in Houston. I'll keep saying it every week into next year.
Yep.
You don't think he's looking and saying, no state taxes, a team that's winning with D'Amico Ryans, who Robert Saleh can't emulate at all because he's an undisciplined mess, unlike D'Amico Ryans. You don't think that's going through his head a little bit right now? I think
Garrett Wilson's from Texas. Like there's a lot linking him to Houston right now. And I think if the Jets, I think what's going to happen, and I really hope it doesn't, and I put out a tweet today about it, but I think that if the experiment next year does not work, the whole regime's getting canned, everyone's getting fired, and the new regime coming in is going to be backed against the wall. They're not going to have as much cap space because of the Rodgers contract. Douglas is going to mortgage away some picks this year to make sacrifices to get talent in this year. And then I think they're going to try and recoup draft capital, and Garrett Wilson being disgruntled or some of these young players being disgruntled are going to be the best way for them to actually get draft capital back. So the best thing we need to have happen is to actually win this year. So that way, or not this year. Well, yeah, this year, 2024. We got to win this year and I said it before, the Jets offense is killing Garrett Wilson's potential because I think he's one of the 8 or 9 best wide receivers in the AFC, which means he should have made the Pro Bowl. And if he made the Pro Bowl, the 5th-year option, if he makes 1 or 2 Pro Bowls, 2 Pro Bowls is the top 5th-year option. I think we all agree Garrett Wilson should make 2 Pro Bowls over the first 5 years of his career. $6.6 million is what he's missing out on. That's the difference from the 5th-year option he gets with no Pro Bowls versus 2 Pro Bowls on that 5th-year option. So the Jets are costing him $6.6 million by having incompetent fucking quarterback play. Crazy. Jake.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. I got Lassell, then Mike the Barber, then Devin on the line. I just want to hop over to Sneakers to Boots. What's up, dude? Good to have you back in here. He says, young players now leading the coaches. Hackett is a bozo and couldn't put a basic drive together. He randomly picks a play with his eyes closed, same old Jets. So I definitely think the players are getting frustrated, and I think they know it's scheme-based too. There's far too much talent on this team to have such a bad offensive line consistently. You're looking at other teams with backup quarterbacks with way more injuries than we've had, to be quite frank. Like Miami, with all the injuries they have, they're still like playing well. I shouldn't say well because they lost to Buffalo last night and they just choked away the division. But they have a ton of injuries. If the Jets sustain the amount of injuries that the Dolphins had, we would be dead in the water. More dead in the water than we already are. So I think players are recognizing it's a coaching thing. And for no one to be held accountable on the offensive side of the ball, I don't love that. I don't love that. I don't know. We'll see. Gonna go over to Mike the Barber. Mike the Barber, how you doing, brother?
Hey guys. Hi
I
guys.
think
I'm thinking.
I'm gonna boot you real quick. Come back in. The audio is a little off right now. I'm just gonna go to yeah. So while we wait for him, let me see if he pops back in real fast. All right. Let's give that a try. How you doing?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah, there we go. It's perfect. How you doing, brother?
So, I'm thinking, what do we do for left tackle?
So there's a few different options that I think we have to consider. And I do think AVT is going to play into the tackle conversation in some capacity, but I don't know if they know what they're going to do with AVT until after the draft and free agency, and maybe even like training camp if someone surprises us. But I think in free agency, you got to try and at least get a tackle, whether that's Jonah Williams at right tackle and then plan to move AVT to left if you don't draft a tackle in the first round. I would love Fashanu. I think I would love Alt first. Fashanu would be my second tackle. And I think there's a chance he does slide to the Jets. If you're looking at veteran left tackles, I do think Bakhtiari's name is going to come up. I don't know how likely it is with the MetLife turf, but the other one I would look at is Tyron Smith, the left tackle from the Cowboys. I think that would be where I would maybe not necessarily start my offensive line search. I think Jonah Williams would be my first call. John Runyon, the guard from Green Bay, I think he's probably likely to come over here, replace Laken Tomlinson. I don't think we cut Tomlinson until later in like training camp though, because you could save all his money later on too. He doesn't have like a trigger date or anything like that. Have you looked into any of the tackles at all? Like, do you have a preference?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking the tackle from Alabama. He seems like our best realistic option.
So he's a
okay
right tackle, which might not be like a bad thing. Like he might be able to move. The bad thing about the Jets kind of winning a little bit is Joe Alt and Olu Fashanu are really the two clear-cut like left tackles, and then the next three, Latham, Fuaga, and Amarius Mims are all right tackles. So you could probably shift them. I think Mims has the best ability to swap over because he doesn't have a crazy ton of snaps at tackle. Now, they might all be able to do it. Latham, to me, feels like he's kind of a rock-solid right tackle. And honestly, we need offensive linemen anyway. So right tackle, left tackle doesn't necessarily mean as much to me as it once did. Heck, I would definitely want Wirfs over Becton in hindsight. I mean, I did want Wirfs over Becton, but I wish
I'm thinking,
yeah.
Realistically, the tight end from Georgia or the receiver from LSU. We'll probably have to go somewhere offense. It just has to go. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm. Has to be offense. I do agree, and I really like Bowers a lot. As I've started watching more and more on him, he can block and he can catch. Like you're almost hitting two birds with one stone with one draft pick. It's like he's one of those rare situations. I like him more than I liked Pitts coming out, and Pitts went 4.
I know you see tight ends over the past years of the Steelers or the Ravens, how they utilize their tight ends, how they changed them, and also created a lot of stability for a long time.
Well, it's also those are guys that are going to catch the ball like within 5-10 yards of the line of scrimmage. They're very safety net type players too. So not necessarily that Rodgers needs a safety net, but with a bad offensive line, a guy that can get open really fast, like a really speedy guy like a Tyreek Hill or something like that, and Waddle, where you have a bad offensive line in Miami, they're able to generate a bunch of yards because they get the ball out fast and guys get open quickly. If Bowers can do that for us, and then you have Garrett Wilson, imagine Garrett Wilson, Bowers, Devontae Adams, and Breece Hall. That's a scary fucking offense. I would be on board with that. Like, I don't even care who our offensive line is at that point. Like, we'll figure it the hell out with Aaron Rodgers. Like, if I would think Aaron Rodgers behind this offensive line right now, without having done anything, I think he still has to run for his life in some situations, but I think you probably win at least 2 more games. You probably win the Raider game. You probably win the Falcon game. You probably win the Patriot game the first time around. Am I missing some games in there? Do we have any other close losses? Maybe Kansas City? I don't know if we beat Kansas City. But at least 2 more wins. And that might get you into the playoffs, right? 9 and 8 then? I don't know what actually got in.
The next thing I want to talk about is contracts.
Ooh, contract. Okay, give me a contract.
There's a lot of guys coming in and out, and we could really utilize the team. There's a lot of guys we could keep as well.
You're saying sorry about that. Which contracts were you talking about? The young guys?
There's just a ton of that could really, guys like the defensive end from the Bengals, that eats up Carl Lawson, $15 million a year.
So he's already accounted for. His contract actually voids, so he's not technically a free agent, but his contract voids and he will become a free agent. That's what it ultimately ends up being.
So we have more free money.
It's already been accounted for. He actually is going to count as dead cap for the New York Jets. And let me find the number. So the Jets in 2024. Let me see. So Dwayne Brown, his contract voids, that's $4.7 million. You have Whitehead, that's 3.3. So right there alone, you're talking $8 million between those two. There's Carl Lawson, that's $6.3 million. So that's like $14 million right there. And I think there's one more somewhere in here.
You see how it's adding up, though? We could get a big $20 million guy.
No. It's hitting our cap because we restructured them this year to push money into the future. Mm-hmm. So they're hitting our cap without actually being on our team and being under contract. And there's one more in here. Where the hell is it?
There's very few free agents that are really coming out. Everybody keeps their players that are great.
Yeah, I thought I had one more in here. Give me 1 second. I know there's another one in here. There's definitely 4. And I'm probably losing my damn mind over this right now. I don't care. But yeah, just those 3 alone. You're talking $14 million. That might be enough to sign Huff. like that's what's so frustrating is you're giving away money to and you had leftover money this year. I don't know. I'm not sure restructuring Carl Lawson was the right move. I want to know how much we freed up this year. What players were actually able, did we free up money so we could sign Dalvin Cook? That's probably what ended up happening. And that's a kick in the balls. Just everything we did this year just did not work out the way we really wanted to. And that dead cap, every team's got dead cap. I shouldn't say it's like an exclusive thing to the New York Jets, but those particular players I feel like are irritating from their particular dead cap hits. Mike the Barber, you've been ejected from the cockpit.
You're out of here!
All right, let's go over to Devin. Devin, how you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing great, Ryan. I'm doing great.
Nice.
Glad it's over.
Oh, dude, I feel the same way. I was so gassed. I was like, I just want to look forward to next year.
I won't lie to you. I lost touch with the season about halfway through.
That is all right. There's a lot of fans and honestly, when I was a few years ago, when I first got out of college, I was doing a lot of work at the resort and I was doing a lot of holiday work. So I just missed tail ends of the season and we were so bad. It was I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. I missed a game here, a game there. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Now I got a channel. I got to sit and watch every fucking game. I'd rather enjoy my day.
Unfortunately, right?
Oh, okay. I want to spend time with my family. And it's a gift and a curse. It's golden handcuffs, I guess, is what you could call it.
I want us to trade back
I do like that.
3 to 5 spots.
Okay.
I think we could still come away with one of those top 5 tackles.
I agree.
Or even one of the top 5 receivers. Or hell, even if they're feeling frisky if one of the quarterbacks fall.
Ooh, I don't want a
Just
quarterback.
for that guy
Not in
for the
first
future.
round. Yeah, I don't like the quarterback in the first round this year. If we were to move back, so let's see, the Jets are 10. If you go back to, say, Vegas, that is the difference of 150 points. That's like you'd recoup maybe a third round pick. So if you could fall back a little bit further, maybe you go 10 to like 20. That would be.
I don't want to fall back that far.
That would be an
I
early
think you give
second,
them-
though. And I think I think
That changes
it
things.
depends who's there, I guess. That's pretty far. I like the top 5 offensive tackles. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I would be fine with Fuaga, I would be fine with Latham, I would be fine with Amarius Mims. I think any one of them would be an upgrade over what we got. And if you include a second round
100%.
pick in addition to that, like, that's kind of attractive. But it also depends. Like, if you can get Bowers, like that, I feel like that's really cool. That's a blue chip
Bowers
prospect.
is sitting there, honestly, I would just run that pick to the podium because Bowers is going to be that guy for the next 5 to 10 years
Yeah.
that not only can block. I'm an Ohio State fan. I've got firsthand experience watching the guy tear my defense apart.
Dude, he's
Like-
unreal. It's fun watching
Yeah.
him. He's so fast. I'm like, I don't know what he's going to run at the combine, but it's faster than you would think.
He's stupid fast. Sleeper pick.
Mhm.
Tommy Eichenberg out of Ohio State.
Ooh,
Very good cover linebacker, plays middle linebacker.
okay.
I do believe Mosley's gone after this year.
You-
Though I would love to
after-
see him retire
Are you
this
saying
coming
after
season.
you don't? Is he going to
2024.
play 2024? Or you think he's getting cut this off season?
I think he'll play 2024 and he might retire.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see them also trying to restructure him in a way that has Mosley lined up with Rodgers' contract. Like, if you could drop Mosley's cap hit and extend it into 2025, I would be fine rolling the dice on him for 2 more years, even if it's just a veteran backup. Like, if he's sitting somewhere around, like, I don't know, $7-8 million a year, or maybe it's 12 this year and 8 next year or something like that. That it's way better than
Before
he's
you
getting
cut
paid
me,
like-
Ryan,
Yeah.
before you cut me, I just want to shout my wife out. She had her second PET scan today,
Ooh.
and everything looks good.
I
So
love
we
it.
are going to continue treatment to March, have the last
Oh.
one in April, and hopefully we go to 6 months after that.
Hell yeah. Dude,
the year
that's
started
awesome.
great,
Dude, that is everything
and
you
we
can
beat
hope
the
for.
Patriots.
And we beat the Patriots. We're undefeated in 2024, and your wife is kicking ass. Dude, I love it. Devin, tell your wife I said, congratulations right now, and continued congratulations in the future, and best of luck. You have been
Thank you.
ejected from the cockpit.
Out of here!
Oh, that's awesome. That's good. Going into the new year healthy, or at least trending in that direction. That's all you can ask for. Laisel coming in. What's up, Laisel? How you doing? You're muted. Laisel. Hello. He's playing Xbox over there. All right, I'll just still back to the green room. Oh, there we go. You're here. I got you.
Up with another mic. Okay, there we go.
It's all good. I've done it before.
Okay,
What's on your
okay.
mind, brother?
Okay. I'm doing everything good. Just both teams that I want to see what's all happened. The Jets won because I wanted that monkey off our back. Like
Sure.
I couldn't go into next year with us not beating the Patriots. Like I can't go through all that again. And then the Dolphins lost, so now I'm gonna go on the AFC's roundtable and talk my shit to TD when I get there.
Oh, it's so great. We were giving him hell on the Monday show at 6:00 earlier today, and it was nice. He came in and he was wearing like a Bills shirt. He's just like, oh, I'm TD Bills talk. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go. He's a good dude.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know. He's a good dude, but he just gets into the round table and just talks his shit, even though like on the other side, on his other channel, you see that he says said the completely opposite thing. And really,
Richie called him
whatever
out
I
on it
say
today.
yeah,
It was cool to see. I
and
don't watch a lot of TD's stuff
and
like outside of the round table or like, you know, a live stream as the game's going on. That's usually what I only catch from him.
yeah. So I'm gonna go on the roundtable and basically just say like you could be yourself. You could say whatever you want to say. Like you don't have to bring out this character. If you want to Pikachu. Who the fuck cares like I understand you want to make a character, play a character, but like if you feel like oh like I'm not confident. Hey yo, I'm not confident on my team half the time, and I'm still going through.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about most of the time.
Yeah, so yeah, it's like I just don't understand why he just played this character the whole time, and expects everyone to be like oh everyone like you trying to manifest it, and what it is you don't manifest a championship, you can feel it.
You gotta
You
try and
feel it.
manifest it a little bit.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just
Well, you
feel
can
like
manifest it, but like you also have to feel it. You gotta feel it. And when
I
you
watch the
have
two
doubt,
of
like, you
him
can't
and
manifest.
Dougley, I feel like Dougley's the more positive of the two, and then TD is like super pessimistic at times. His facial reactions whenever something goes wrong, it's so funny.
But then but you don't see him like into Wednesday. He's just like trying to play this like, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl type thing, and while we see on his other show, yeah, he doesn't believe that. He doesn't believe that.
Trying to stir the pot with all the division rivals. I understand.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get it. It's fun.
Yeah, so-
Lassel, you've been ejected from the cockpit. Let's go over to Lima Bean again. How you doing, dude?
Good, yeah. I saw that TD Fins thing. That was pretty funny. I never seen a grown
Oh my
man
God,
screech
dude!
as loud as he did.
I
It's,
went-
it's the one thing is, you know, us being Drowning fans, it's fun to take others with us. But like, but basically, I don't know much about this tight end guy that everyone keeps talking about, Bowers. But like, I mean,
dude. So I put out the top 5 picks that I think the Jets should consider with the number 10 pick. Top 5 picks I think they should, or 5 players I think they should consider. Take a look at it because I show highlights of Bowers, both blocking and receiving.
It's just such a risky thing to like, you know.
You'll
it's
feel
just
differently after you watch it.
But didn't
I
we say that
trust
about
you.
Kyle Pitts?
Different. Like when it's strictly a receiver, it's
They
a
said he was a
little
once in a
different.
generation. They called him Tony Gonzalez. It's the same. I feel like we do this every year.
Oh, it's every year. I try to avoid the generational tag, and Bowers, I don't think is going to go as high as Pitts went. Like I think.
Then why? Like, I mean, hypothetically, if first of all, if a tackle's named Mims, that scares me just because I don't know if any Mims could do well. Like Denver has a Mims, and you saw him muff a punt.
Green Bean's
I was
I
watching.
gotta have more Mims.
No, I saw there was a stream when we were doing the Broncos game that when Green Bean saw like the other Mims muff a punt, and then it was just like, yo, no Mims is gonna have any success anywhere. It's just bad.
It's just not gonna work.
Anyone named Mims and Perrine, man, they had a Perrine too. He like got tackled behind the line. It's just not. You don't draft those guys, man. Like
Nope.
I don't know.
It's the kiss of death. I would
feel
say
like
that if riddle me this, right? If the situation boils down to Alton Fashanu going ahead of us, which I think is probable. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be gone. I think Malik Neighbors is definitely going to be gone by our pick. So you're looking at a situation where you're saying, okay, it's Rome Odunze, which I think would be fine. I don't have a problem with that. But you'd have to be looking at wide receiver 3, offensive tackle 3 or 4, possibly, in either one of those, or tight end 1 that kind of blocks like a tackle and kind of catches like a receiver. It's weird. He's really good. He's fun to watch.
If the best tackles are taken, which I don't know. I mean, everyone says they'll be taken, but I wouldn't be shocked if they dropped somehow because, you know, Kyle Hamilton's supposed to be taking the first 3, right? And then he went to number 16 or something like that. Like
he was supposed to go. I think he was supposed to go top like 7. I think a lot of us thought he might be there at 10.
Yeah, but like it's just. I mean, again, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a scout, so I can't say. It's just I think that if we can't get our tackle, I mean, maybe trading isn't the worst thing. Like
I don't mind trading down if
and
you
then getting like
can.
a tackle later. But I think our tackle should
Yeah.
be done mostly in free agency as well, just because they're known commodities.
Well,
We
so that's
need
what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to try and position ourselves where if Alt or Fashanu are there, I think they're the pick. I think if Bowers is there and we have at least solidified part of the offensive line, AVT is going to be a tackle. You picked up another tackle in free agency, and then maybe you use your third round pick on a developmental type tackle or something along those lines, or an interior offensive lineman to replace AVT.
like
Then I
linemen
think,
take years to develop, like especially the
well,
way
that's what I'm
without the
saying. I think
2 days practice,
receiver,
so.
I think wide receiver is going to be in the conversation at the top of this draft because it will immediately help us right away. And that's why I start leaning a little more towards Bowers, because as opposed to having someone that's just a deep threat, I feel like we can get a deep threat in free agency. Like the wide receiver free agency class is pretty nice.
I'm not against it, and if he's a good blocker, I'm like that is more worthwhile. It's just it feels so risky, Like if
It does.
I remember Jason Morrow, he's just
Oh,
he
dude.
was that.
Most of the best tight ends in the NFL are not first round picks. Most of the first overall tight ends are busts.
It
It's
feels
not
like
good.
the cost to like win ratio just doesn't seem to add up with the tight end like that level. Like Atlanta has regrets about Kyle Pitts, and he's been good for them. So
I think they have more regrets over not getting a quarterback. Like I think Pitts is, based on the other players in that draft class, like I'm sure the Jets are feeling pretty like egg on the face with Zach Wilson. Like in hindsight, you would, trade down and get either Penei Sewell or Jamar Chase, or you take the San Francisco trade down and you get Micah Parsons on the outside and you have all the draft picks loaded up on everything.
which is why tanking also makes no sense with the trade downs, and all that stuff. For other than more draft capital, like so.
Oh, dude,
I mean,
if we could have had the number 2 pick and traded back to number 10 and taken one of these guys, I mean, you're talking 2-3 first round picks to come up and get Drake May.
The Packers with Jordan Love, man, he went in the 20s, and like you got to sit a guy for a few years, and he was raw. I think if you went to another
but
team,
we'd be the ones trading down and getting the picks.
True. I mean, that's the only one good thing about it. But like these Garrett Wilson and Sauce, they need wins, man. It's more than just like the Garrett. He's not gonna tank. Like when it was Frank Gore, I'm like, yeah, let's get this guy as many losses as that loser to get out of here. Like Adam Gase, I didn't care about him, but like these guys, we have a core to develop on. We got to keep them. Like I don't want him to go to the Texans and see with CJ Stroud. Like hell no. Like I want him to like learn to win. He says he wants to stay. So like, and he wants to turn things around. We got to. I know that won't win mattered to him that much. I know, like
100%.
So
every win matters to the players because it's their record at the end of the year. It's their stuff that they're putting on tape.
It's a culture thing. Like now, like we won too many games as it was. If we only won 1 or 2, then tanking all the way. But when we're sitting at 6, at that point, it just doesn't matter.
100%. I'm on the same board with you. I like as soon as we won the Washington game, that was it for me on the tanking thing. It's like, you know what? I want to see wins at this point because the 6 pick to the 10 pick, all those players are going to be roughly about the same. Like maybe you miss out on a Fashanu,
and then the Ravens
but there's a chance he might not be there.
Yeah, like the Ravens and Steelers still get their guy at 20 something. So like, it's
they always do. The Ravens and Steelers always get such good drafts. The Ravens draft the year we took Garrett and Sauce, they had Linderbaum and Hamilton and like every single guy we wanted as fans.
Because they're so
Lava Bean, you've been ejected from the cockpit. Cutting you off mid-sentence. I got Alon. You can tell me what your name is. How do you say your name?
Alon. Who gives a shit? Doesn't make a difference.
I've never seen it spelled Alon. So that's why I'm like,
I go by both. I go Alon and I go Allen, but it doesn't matter. People here don't like me anyhow, so it doesn't make a difference.
I really like your trade. Can you tell us a little bit more about your trade idea?
My trade idea is, in my opinion, I don't think Huff's coming back. I think they're going to tag and trade him. So in my opinion, knowing that the Chargers are going to cut Bosa, in my opinion, I think Bosa's gone. The idea of
Bosa's gone.
I think Bosa's going to get cut. No, I don't. I think Bosa's going to get cut. I think Mac gets cut. I think they're going to bring back Mac. Yeah. I think Bosa will get cut. I do. I think Bosa's injury prone.
Okay. So if that's I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
what are
I think
what's the Chargers? The Chargers are way over the cap. They're like $40 million over the cap, I think.
Yes.
So let me see. 34, and then if they cut Cutting Khalil Mack saves 23. Bosa saves 14.
I think Bosa's the one who's going to get cut. I
Bosa's
think they
4
can
years younger, though.
restructure.
That's the only thing.
I can see them restructuring Mac more so than keeping Bosa. That's just my opinion. It could be one or the other. But
I think it's reversed, but I like what you're saying.
Again, I know that there were so many Jet fans yesterday just so happy beating a hapless team. And then I'm thinking to myself, Tennessee won and the Giants won. So as you say, 6-10 in this draft for the Jets is humongous. And as I said,
it's probably missing out on a tackle, but it could also fall the other way. You could wind up having a situation where like Arizona at 4 takes a tackle and the Chargers at 5 take a tackle.
Arizona is not taking a tackle. They took Paris Johnson last year. I think Arizona's taken a receiver. Absolutely.
So,
I think Arizona.
I agree. I have a hunch that I don't know. Do you think the Bears definitely swap out the quarterback, or do you think they go Marvin Harrison Jr. at 1?
Oh, I think the Bears take Caleb Williams. I think they trade. I think they trade Fields to the trade I heard is Fields to the Falcons for pick 43. Yep, that makes the most sense. I think the team that's the most intriguing out of the top 10, the 2 teams. You see, a lot of people are saying Jaden Daniels to the Patriots at 3. I'm unsure yet. I don't know if they're going to pick him. And another pick is Atlanta at 8. Atlanta at 8. If Atlanta makes that trade and takes Fields, I can see Atlanta being a trade down partner. And I could see a team like New Orleans trading up to get a tackle. See, I think Tennessee's taking a tackle. I think the Chargers are taking a tackle. I know a lot of people say
they're going to take a tackle or a tight end. I think they could be I think they're the only threat for Bowers in front of us, unless someone trades into the first round, like or into the top 10.
I can see Slater moving inside for the Chargers and then taking Oltz and putting him at tackle, or I could see Oltz starting at right tackle and keeping Slater at left tackle. But as I said, I think Tennessee's definitely taking a tackle. So again, that win yesterday cost us either Fasano or Oltz. So as much as people love winning that game yesterday, it cost us a franchise left tackle. I mean that's the bottom line. As much as I want to beat Belichick, to me, it's a meaningless win. It's a meaningless win. And another thing.
It is ultimately because it doesn't do anything. Like, it's not going to change our culture at all. It's like everyone was coming back regardless. It's more of like okay, we get that monkey off our back. There's no more hearing about it and that sort of shit. But how many people are honestly like jazzed up over our win over the Rams in 2020 or whatever year that was?
Who gives a shit? One other comment about the press conferences today. 2 in particular, the Saleh press conference and the Garrett Wilson press conference. You wonder who the actual coach is, and you actually wonder who the player is.
Dude, because Garrett is mature beyond his years, and he's like kind of calling them out. But I feel like it's in a pretty respectful way.
As I said in another podcast, Garrett Wilson, if you listen to him today, bottom line, he's shocked that this coach is still there, honestly. He's been there for 3 years. Do you think it's
Saleh, or do you think it's Hackett that he's like frustrated?
I think it's Saleh. I don't think any of these players respect Saleh. Maybe the defensive players do. I don't think any of the offensive players respect Saleh at all. I think they look at him as a cheerleader. To me, I always said I think he's a used car salesman. Honestly, every time I hear him talk, I cringe because I wonder how the hell did we hire him in the first place?
It's the intensity. It's the getting mad on the sideline and the really good defense and all that. And the Jets are built on like that's what it is. And we have a really good defense. We went from like worst defense in the NFL his first year to like top 3. What was it last year? And like I finished 5 or 10 in this year. I don't know. I have a hard time like taking Saleh seriously when no one gets held accountable. Like that part irks me.
As much as I think Arthur Smith deserved to get fired, Arthur Smith was 21-30. Robert Saleh is 18-33. One kept his job, one lost his job. And again, Aaron Rodgers is holding this franchise hostage. As I said earlier, he is.
But Saleh kept his job because he has Rodgers in the back pocket. Like they made the move to go get Rodgers, where the Falcons didn't make the move. They brought in Heineke and they had Ritter, and I think that's what did him in more than anything else. If let's say there was a world where the Falcons got Aaron Rodgers, then I would say Arthur Smith might get the benefit of the doubt for an additional year because he made the move. I don't like Arthur Smith. I think it's ridiculous. And his salary's a joke. I think the next 3 years he's getting paid like, I don't know, it's some insane amount of money like per week, but he's the heir to the FedEx empire.
Yeah.
So he's getting like, if he's getting 5% on $1 billion like every year, he's getting like $100,000 a day.
Bottom line,
a week.
The worst 3 coaches coming into this season, and 2 are gone, and Salah's still here. Brandon Staley was the worst coach. Arthur Smith was the second worst coach. And Robert Saleh's right there. And the idea that he kept his job.
I think McDaniels is pretty bad. Josh McDaniels is pretty fucking
and
terrible.
McDaniels has gone too.
His ass got canned.
Yes. So the idea that 3 of the 4 guys are gone and Robert Saleh, 15 games under 500, and listening to him at the press conference today, I mean, there's no accountability whatsoever.
No,
the
it didn't feel like it at all.
Everybody's still there is a joke. It's a joke. And
it is.
I have one final question for you.
Sure.
What is the percentage that you give this regime being there in January of 2025?
Well, we'll have at least one game. Week 17. So after
that
game.
After the season, what percent?
I think the AFC is going to be a lot tougher than it was this year because you got Burrow coming back. You have Watson coming back. You have who am I drawing a blank on right now? You got the Chargers with a new coach. You're going to have
Burrow,
possibly Harbaugh coming over to Vegas and figuring stuff out over there. I think Sean Payton is going to have Denver in a better spot, although they might be going for like a younger quarterback, so maybe they're a little different. Baltimore's still going to be strong. Buffalo and Miami are still going to be strong. I can't see the Patriots being that bad for that long. They still have a good defense.
They do. And I could see Vrabel going there anyhow. I
think it's definitely happening. I think him seeing Belichick looking to possibly move out and Vrabel saying, okay, that's where I want to be. That's where there's the contention in Tennessee. And I think Vrabel's one of the top 5 coaches in the league. I would put him up there with Shanahan.
Totally
I would put them up there with the best of the best. I like Vrabel a lot. He's a smart motherfucker.
So to me, bottom line is I think there's I'll say a 15 to 20% chance that these guys are retained after this year. Because in my opinion, winning a playoff game doesn't save them. Honestly, I don't think it does. They have to get. I
would say I think you have to win a playoff game. I think getting to the playoffs doesn't necessarily save you. I think you have to win one at least, and it has to be a good game. And I think you have to be competitive in the loss. It depends how it happens. If you back your way into the playoffs and you're bounced one and done, everyone's out. Everyone's gone.
Yes.
I'm not even sure Rodgers necessarily hangs around after that.
I could see that, but I'm frustrated. Bottom line, last comment. I'm frustrated because I look at this regime and I see no accountability with the coach. I see no accountability with the GM. And I hear guys like Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner today. And I'm thinking to myself, in 18 months, both those guys are going to be like, get me the fuck out of here. Honestly.
Dude.
And that's where this franchise is about to either take that next step forward or become a laughingstock, continuing to become a laughingstock once again. So while people say I'm negative, I'm realistic. I don't trust this coaching staff.
You're pessimistic.
And I don't trust the GM.
I would say your outcome that you're talking about has a higher percentage chance of happening than us turning it around. Because I do share a lot of those same fears. I think we got a 40-year-old quarterback coming off a major injury that may implode. I don't see us getting one of the top-tier backups. So I think if Rodgers does get hurt or does not look like he did, we are in a world of hurt. That's why I'm a little more online with drafting a quarterback in the middle rounds just to hopefully have him develop if the regime hangs around, but then it's not a premium investment. So that way the next regime could end up drafting their guy. My scariest thing is if it bottoms out next year. I don't think Garrett's here. I think Garrett's gone 100%.
I think they're all gone. I think Garrett's gone.
As you probably gone. I don't know if I could see Sauce and JJ staying.
I could see that. And one final thing, and I'm sorry, this is the last point.
No, it's all right. I don't have anyone else on the line, so it's totally fine. It's cool.
Bryce Huff tag and trade to Detroit for a second and a fourth. That's my prediction.
Ooh, that would be cool.
I have a best friend who's a Lion fan, and he
Yeah?
said all we need is someone to play opposite Hutchinson. And he said, I want Bryce Huff. And you put Bryce Huff on the opposite side of Hutchinson, that team is a Super Bowl contender next year. And I think a second and a fourth will get it done.
I think just a second would get it done. I'd be tickled pink with a second. If they're going to give us a fourth on top of it, yes. All damn day, yes. Like, as much as I like Bryce Huff and I would love to bring him back, my issue is more so losing the value of what he is. Like, if you let him walk for nothing, I'm going to lose my damn mind.
They won't. They can't.
No, but so what happens? And I don't know all the ramifications of it necessarily, but let's say Huff signs his, like, they're like, hey, we're going to hit you with the franchise tag. He's like, good, that's what I want. I'm going to sign the franchise tag as soon as you give it to me. And guess what? I'm not signing a contract with anyone. Do the Lions trade a second and a fourth, or any team trade a second for a player that's refusing to sign a contract with anyone because he wants to test free agency? I think that's where he may go.
I think the Lions, if you look at that roster and you look at that defense, I mean, their offense is completely set, in my opinion. I think they have so many weapons offensively. If you look at their defense, and I could see them losing this Sunday night against the Rams because of their defense, I could see the Lions taking that next step and going to get a premier pass rusher to play opposite Hutchinson. So to me, I think trading a second to get a guy like that who can get you 9 to 12 sacks makes a lot of sense for them. So that's the one team I look at, because I think that's the team that needs to take that next step defensively, and to get a guy for a second round pick who's 25 years old makes complete sense for them.
And I think, didn't Saleh go on the Detroit interview before he came to us? So he may have a little bit of like knowledge to some degree of the regime that's over there. Is the GM? I'd have to look.
The GM's from the Rams. The GM is from the Rams.
No, I know that, but was he from? Did that GM interview Saleh, or was the GM brought in at the same time Campbell?
I don't know. Maybe Saleh had a preliminary. I don't think he really. I know he went to interview it. I believe I forget where else he interviewed besides us. He might have went to Atlanta or Philly.
I think he went to Atlanta. Yeah, I don't really know.
I think it's Atlanta. Yeah. But I really appreciate it, Ryan. Maybe next year I'll become more optimistic. But when I listen to these pressers by this moron coach, I just can't. It just can't. It doesn't make sense.
I hear
this
you,
guy
bro.
should be fired.
Alan,
Thanks a lot, man.
whatever the hell your name is.
Whatever.
You're out of here.
You're out of here.
Oh, man. Always good to have you on, dude. All right. Let's see what you guys are doing in here. Washington right now down by 7 points to Michigan. 13 minutes left. Michigan's got a third down coming up, 3rd and 6. What yard line are they on? I think they're in Washington territory. I thought it looked like that. No, they're not. They're in their own territory. They're on like the 15-yard line. 20-yard line. That's what happens when you're not paying attention, Ryan. Wow. McCarthy fell for like 7 yards there. That was impressive. Let's see. WM says Lions are not going to be good when they lose Ben Johnson. I promise you that. So Ben Johnson or Brian Johnson from the Eagles, one of those two I feel like should end up in Atlanta, and they should trade for Justin Fields. I think that would be an electric offense with them. Or if you can wind up getting like a Todd Monken from Baltimore, have him be your head coach and run the same offense they run in Baltimore with Fields, that'd be cool. Sports says accountability starts with the owner. Anything else is irrelevant. Yeah, Woody has not. I have a hunch that they told everyone they were safe as soon as Rodgers went down. Like, hey, don't worry about it. Everyone's coming back. I know we heard, oh, no, that's not what was said. I just think that it looked too lackadaisical all year for me to believe that they weren't told earlier. Dom says Bryce Huff to Philly would make a lot of sense. That'd be cool. I don't know who are they losing. Did they lose Graham yet? Or is he? That guy's like 100 years old. I feel like he plays every single year. Let's see. Who are their edge rushers? So they are going to lose. We've got Shaq Leonard over there. 41 under contract. What they got? They got like $31 million in cap space. I don't know what their draft picks are. What are the draft picks? Let's see what Philly's draft picks are. So Philly would have the 50th pick and the 57th pick. So honestly, I mean, if you get the 50th pick, great. If you get either one of those, I think just having a second round pick would be nice. I would love to move like Huff and Zach to Minnesota for the 42nd pick. That'd be pretty cool. I'll sign up for that all day. I don't know if that's something they'd want to do. Not that Zach carries a whole lot of weight, but like, hey, we'll give you Huff in the trade to get Zach, but we want your second. Justin says, yo, what up? Long time no talk. What's up, dude? Got about 26 minutes left in the call-in show. WM says, Stafford, Kupp, Nuka, Williams will give them nightmares. So I am excited to watch this game. This is the whole slate of playoff games this week. You've got a bunch of storylines. I would have liked, so I don't like Deshaun Watson, but it would be more interesting if Deshaun Watson, if Deshaun Watson was playing in Houston rather than Joe Flacco. I think that would be a cool storyline. I think the McCarthy going back to Green Bay is an interesting storyline, or vice versa, I guess. Green Bay going to Dallas. I think Tyreek Hill going to Kansas City is an interesting storyline, but my favorite one is the hell did I just lose my train of thought for? What the heck am I gotta look it up. Who the hell's the list? Duh, we were just talking about Rams Lions. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to seeing Stafford going back to Detroit. I'm looking forward to it. And I really think it's going to be, I think Stafford wins it. I do. I think the Rams are a really good team. I like the Lions. I would be pulling for the Lions, I think, just because I don't really want to see LaFleur do well with the Rams. Not for any reason, like not that I don't like him or anything. I kind of wish he was our offensive coordinator still. Wild Wave says, chill, we need Monken here next year. I would love Todd Monken. Todd Monken was the passing game coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when Jameis had all those crazy yards. And then I believe was he OC for Georgia? And then left to go to, what a catch. Holy smokes. Is there a flag on that? Oh, man. Wow. Washington got hit with a hold. Wow, that sucks. Although it probably, let's see, the right tackle held. Oh, yeah, okay, so that play's over. That play doesn't happen if he doesn't hold. Man, Odunze. I always jack up his name all the time. Jay comes in. Jay says, with all the line problems, we have the fact JD wouldn't give up a sixth for a lineman. Cleveland. What the hell's his first name? I almost said Grover Cleveland. That's not it. Man, I am off my game today. I cannot remember what the hell his name is. They gave him like a 6th round pick, right? He wound up going to Jacksonville. Jemiah says, why would you move Huff? I think it's just because it's a resource thing. It's not, I would prefer to not have Will McDonald and have signed Huff at a discount last year. Now, this year, if I'm Bryce Huff, because this is the thing, like the Jets may want to bring back Huff, and Huff just wants to have, the most amount of money. But here's what I've been saying is if you're Bryce Huff and you were an undrafted free agent and you had the ability to get a contract last year from the New York Jets, and the Jets said, nah, we don't want to do that. We're going to hit you with a tender, but we're not going to hit you with a first round tender because that's a little bit more money. We don't think you're worth that. We're going to hit you with a second round tender. We're going to hope someone gives us a second round pick for you because we're going to trade a second round pick for Aaron Rodgers. We want the second round pick. No one did it. So now Bryce Huff is sitting there like, wow, you gave me, less money. You don't want me here. And you drafted my replacement in Will McDonald. So if I'm Huff, my ass is not helping the Jets at all. I think the Jets have made their bed with Bryce Huff, and they're just going to have to lay in it. Now, if you can tag and trade him, that's one thing, but Bryce Huff may say, I don't want to negotiate a long-term deal. I want to play on the franchise tag. That would be brutal. Simon says, being a Jets fan is the most painful thing on planet Earth. And talking about potential success here is the only relief. That is literally the only thing that keeps this channel going in the offseason is the hope that we might be able to turn it around. And this channel always winds up doing better in the offseason than it does in the regular season. I was really hoping that was going to switch. This year, I don't know. Papa says, who's not pulling for Cleveland versus Detroit in the Super Bowl? I would love to see. Do I want Cleveland to win with Flacco and then have like a Carson Wentz situation for Watson? The answer is yes. But I also don't really want to see Joe Flacco win a Super Bowl because then there's going to be all these comments of like, oh, well, the Jets could have had him and he wanted to play for him and he led the whole thing back. And then we got to deal with that all that crap. I'm pulling for, I would like to see San Francisco and Baltimore. That I would like to see the two best teams, and I think they're the two best teams in the league right now. And I would be happy seeing either one. I would love to see, Lamar get a ring. I would love to see Shanahan get a ring. I think Shanahan's been one of the best coaches in the league for a long time, and I think he deserves a ring. Just got to see him get through. We got our buddy Dom C on the line. Hold on, I didn't add you. Boom. What's up, dude? How you doing?
What's happening, Rye? How are you, man?
Hanging in there, dude. Did you happen to see my 5 prospects that I wanted?
I did very much so. Hang on, I'm gonna back out. I'm getting a bad echo. I don't know if it's you or me.
Ooh, okay. I'll boot you out. Dom C. Love me some Dom. Dom's got a really good prospect list that is helping me by trying to. So, Dom, I was just saying your prospect list that you put together. 1, very impressive. 2, thank God you did it because it's saving me a ton of time with 2 kids running around. I was up till 4 a.m, like breaking down like all these different, like the guys that I'm looking at for the top 10, like where I think people are going to fall. And I was looking at like, the 5 guys I had for those in the chat that have not seen it, and in no particular order: Fuaga, Latham, Mims, Odunze, and Bowers are the 5 guys I would consider at 10. And I think one of those 5 will ultimately end up being a Jet. Were we talking earlier today about Fashanu sliding?
Yes. Yeah, we were. I said that I think it's a bigger possibility than most people are realizing.
I agree. I've seen a few more big boards as I've gone around. So one of the sites I do like using pretty frequently is NFL Draft Buzz because they show a let me see if I could find it. If you go to any particular player, so like let's click on Fashanu and you scroll all the way down to the bottom of his page, it shows where all the like other draft sites have him. So like NBC Sports has him as the number 2 overall player. CBS has him as the number 3. DraftNet has him as number 3. WC Gridiron has him as number 4. Pro Football Network has him at 5. Bleacher Report looks like it has him at 5. The Athletic has him at 6. Pro Football Focus 8. Draft Buzz has him at 10. So there's right now, and I'm sure that'll change. It'll shift. It gives you the dates as to where they're rankings are at any given time. So a lot of this is all from within the last like day or two. But I've seen Fasciano in a few mock drafts slide to like 9, 10, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, well, it would. I think it's going to be real dependent on if a fourth quarterback comes into play in the top 10.
Do you think Penix sneaks into there? Because I don't see any, like JJ's not getting in there, in my opinion. I don't think Bo Nix is getting up there. Penix is really the only one that I could see. And we kind of needed to have like a big game from him today.
Yeah. I mean, listen, here's the thing with my opinion on Penix is that I think he has the talent to do it. That his talent and his touch and all that stuff that has been evident this whole season is worthy of that. A team might fall in love with it, but he's just got too much baggage, too much extracurricular stuff that's going to weigh him down. The injury stuff, the injury flags are real. So
it's 2 ACLs, right? That's what it is.
2 ACLs in the same knee. A separated shoulder, non-throwing shoulder, and a separated AC joint in his throwing shoulder. So he lost 4 consecutive seasons. Not all season, but for the most part, every bit of 4 seasons. So that's going to be real. I don't know, like us as fans kind of look past that stuff, but NFL teams don't. The medicals matter just as much as production and almost as much as the traits.
Oh, 100%.
Michigan.
I don't know if you just saw this. Michigan just went up.
Yeah, Michigan just took the lead.
Another touchdown. Looks like 2 touchdown lead right here with 7 minutes to go. I don't think Penix sneaks into the top 10, especially with this loss. I think that's going to, it's going to leave a little bit of a black eye on the resume coming out here. Now, as far as like the top draft board, top 10 picks, we got. Let's run through this real quick. Do you see the Bears selecting Caleb Williams, or do you think they go with like a Marvin Harrison Jr. and they roll with Fields?
We missed the extra point. If I had to put money on it right now, I think they reset the salary cap market, go with the rookie, and take Caleb Williams.
Now, in your analysis, do you like Williams more, or do you like Drake May more?
I like Williams more than Drake May. I actually have Drake May as my number 3 quarterback right now.
Ooh,
you like Daniels more? I like Daniels. I think the traits in Daniels, especially what he can offer, with his legs and so on and so forth, is going to be valued. I personally watched Drake May, and he's a good quarterback. I'm not saying that he's not a good quarterback, but there's something to be said, against the toughest competition. He kind of sometimes step back. The biggest thing for me, Drake May, that I couldn't get out of my head, and this is my Jets fandom, is there's a lot of times where you see those happy feet. And I think Sam Darnold and I think Zach Wilson, and I'm just like, I don't know. And I'm not saying I'm not comparing the two. I'm not comparing him to those guys, but he's got some of those traits. So it's very close with the 3 of them. I would rank them as of right now, as we stand in January. I'd rank them Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and then Drake May.
So I had said before, I think Jaden Daniels could wind up going number 1 if people start liking some of his metrics. As I watch more and more of his tape, he has a lot of games where he's it's almost like the Geno Smith type offense, where he's throwing like a nice ball to someone 10 yards out, but they're taking it like 65 yards and he's getting a touchdown or a lot of yardage that way. And that's a little more indicative of the receiver more than it is the quarterback. But I love his frame. 6'4", 210 pounds. He's going to gain probably another 25 pounds on that frame.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, dude.
Do you see 3 quarterbacks going all in a row, or do you think maybe New England, like I could see New England going Marvin Harrison Jr. and then taking a quarterback top of the second, or maybe trading back into the first probably is more.
Yeah, I mean that could be a possibility, but again, I'd probably right now think that it's going to go quarterback. Now, what teams are picking them, I don't know. If I had to make a bet on it right now, I'd say the order stays the same and the quarterbacks, those top 3 quarterbacks go.
Now at 4, you think it's a lock. Arizona takes Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yep.
And then Chargers at number 5. Alt?
They're a big wild card. I think Alt makes a lot of sense. I think Malik Neighbors makes a lot of sense. You got to remember, I mean, they're in salary cap hell, and
They're going to lose probably. They could lose Keenan Allen. They could lose Mike Williams. They could lose Bosa, and they could lose Mack. Those are the 4 players that are like.
Yeah, I don't see any. I don't see any way that both Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are both on that roster at the price they have them there. They're going to have to make some tough decisions. So
Max
Malik
saves
Neighbors,
like $23 million too. I think Max good as gone. There's no way he's staying on that team.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of moves there, but Neighbors makes a lot of sense. He offers them something that offense right now doesn't have, even with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Mike Williams is pretty much just your go guy. He's your true vertical threat.
I think Quentin Johnson's dog shit.
I don't know about dog shit. I think he's just he was raw. He was raw. He
just doesn't go up and like high point. He doesn't like attack a ball. He reminds me very much of like an Alan Lazard. Like, you always want a little bit more from him. Like he doesn't go up and get the ball away like a Garrett does or anything like that.
Well,
especially at like 6'5" or whatever he is.
I think Quentin Johnson is the quintessential kind of perfect poster boy for what NFL teams draft traits first, and because he's got them all. He's got them all. So sometimes you draft those traits and hope that you're going to make the best of them. And I'm not saying the kid's a bad receiver or he won't be good, but I think he was a little bit more raw than was expected. So if I had to guess, it'd be a real 50-50 shot right now between Joe Alt or Malik Neighbors going to the Chargers.
Now, I kind of view them as the one spot that maybe Brock Bowers could go before the Jets. Do you kind of view it the same way, or do you see another team?
Yeah, that's a definite need. I could see that. I don't think. Ooh, that's a great play, Adonze. Sorry. I think that it makes sense. I mean, listen, I'm a big fan of Brock Bowers. I'm a huge fan of Brock Bowers. I think he makes sense for a lot of offenses, especially one there in San Diego where, they want to add weapons, but there's a lot of holes on that team. And it just comes down to not only best player available, but best player at a premium position of need. And I don't know if he checks all the boxes there for San Diego. That's my thoughts on it. Realistically, I don't think
comment before Alan. So Alan was thinking, he's like, what if you traded number 10 and a franchise tagged Bryce Huff to the Chargers for number 5? Because now you're talking, you might be able to get Joe Alt at 5. I would absolutely do that if that was an option.
Yeah, but I don't know how they're going to fit. I mean, they're in salary cap hell already. How are they going to take on? Because to tag and trade somebody, you're going to have to find a team that has $19 million
the contract first. I think that's what it is. Like, I don't know if Huff wants to negotiate a deal though. I think he might play hardball and say, I want 19.5 and then I'm going to hit free agency next year.
Yeah. I don't know if that, I mean, on paper, idealistically, it makes a ton of sense.
Let's do a little math right here. We'll cut Khalil Mack. That's 23.25. And then let's cut. So Mike Williams would save 20. Keenan Allen would save 23. So, I mean, I guess you cut. I don't know. I would keep Allen, I guess. He's 2 years older, but
but even if you do that, you just say you cut them both, right? That gives about $40 million in space. There's still negative space, if I'm not mistaken.
No, because you'd be saving 23, 20, and 23. So you're saving 66 right there through those 3. That's without doing anything to Bosa. Like, I'm assuming you're keeping Bosa at his. I mean, that's a massive cap hit. You probably want to extend him and like drop that cap hit. His cap hit's $36 million next year. That's nuts.
Yeah, whoever takes over that role is going to have a lot of cap gymnastics to play with.
We're watching him right now. I think. Oh, I don't know. Do you think Harbaugh goes to the Raiders, or do you think he goes to the Chargers? think it's one of those two.
Everything I hear is that it's the Raiders, man.
Yeah, I can see that. I know they've been.
the Raiders.
He's been linked to the Raiders for I think 3 different coaching cycles now.
Yeah. Al, he's got a connection. He's got a relationship with Al Davis. Even and again, I take it with a grain of salt, but they've been talking about. He's already started to formulate his coaching staff that would go with him to Oakland.
He's definitely gone. I would be very surprised. He's going to win the national championship tonight. He's going to achieve the highest pinnacle of college football, and he's going to avoid all the sanctions like Mr. Pete Carroll over there. And he's going to try and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know if Vegas is the right spot. I mean, I guess he's going to have time. He seems pretty young.
Well, Vegas is a good spot. Vegas might be the ideal spot because you got to remember also they don't have a GM right now, so he might be able to get a coaching job with
the Chargers. Don't either.
Did they fire their GM as well?
They did. I think they fired both with Staley. I think it was Staley and him. Both got canned.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, listen, I would assume
really fucking good too. Like, I mean, I don't think Harbaugh's not going to Atlanta, but I think Atlanta and the Chargers are the 2 most attractive jobs right now. And then I would say maybe Washington.
Yeah, Washington has a bevy of high picks. They got a ton of cap space. Washington's going to be a new owner who's going to want to make noise. I think Washington is a really attractive place. I think Washington and Chicago, actually, while we're talking about Bryce Huff, those might be 2 options for trade possibilities if they decide to move towards the tag and trade
Chicago just
model.
Traded for Montez Sweat, right? So I don't know if maybe they make another move. Washington.
Yeah, they need another edge rusher opposite Sweat. Washington needs 2 edge rushers, and both of them have enough cap space to kill a small pony, so they can make it fit.
Now, as we go down the draft board, so we were just on number 5. The Giants, I feel like I would go wide receiver here, and then I would consider linebacker, or not linebacker. I would consider either O-line, like interior O-line in the second round for them, or quarterback. They got 2 second-round picks, but you see receiver for the Giants at 6? Like, I think that's Neighbors' floor. I don't know if I see him getting beyond them.
I don't think he gets, if he's not picked by 5, I think the Giants make a whole lot of sense for him. I think the Giants sneakily can make a whole lot of sense for Brock Bowers as well. Because they can get
too, right?
Yeah, but if you look at his contract, they can get out of that pretty scot-free and save $13 million, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I know today that in their press conference, they talked up Darren Waller a lot, but
wow, Michigan just
off,
intercepted.
game's over.
Yeah, he's going to return it.
Yes, he is. Oh, and there he goes.
Or is he going to go down? Oh, he goes down. Not intentionally, but all right. So let's see. Waller's contract. They could cut him this year. They're going to be able to get out of it next year if they really wanted to. Next year. He's probably under contract for 24, and then 25 is when you can move off of him.
Giants are an interesting one.
He's gonna be 33. No, he's 32.
Yeah, Giants are an interesting one. I think that quarterback. Everyone talks about the quarterback, and although I'm not a huge Daniel Jones guy, you're committed to him for 1 more year. So maybe you do want to get a quarterback to kind of challenge him this year, maybe push him towards midseason, or at least have something if you decide to move off of Daniel Jones. But I don't know if they're going to have it. I don't see them trading up. It doesn't make sense. They have too many holes. They're not a team that's ready to win. They're not a quarterback away. So I don't know if they trade up to get into the, May, Daniels, Caleb Williams sweepstakes. That doesn't make sense to me.
You'd have to think it would require the Patriots liking 2 guys, both of them going, and then, man, I don't know. I don't see the Patriots trade out. If they don't, I think they're going to go quarterback, and if they don't, you know what I could see? I could see Washington getting either Ben Johnson or Brian Johnson and then taking Jaden Daniels at 2. And then May falls to the Patriots at 3. I could see that.
Yeah,
think
absolutely.
Washington's
Listen,
taking
it wouldn't. Those three quarterbacks can go in any. It's really going to be the the chef's choice, if you will. Like, what fits your scheme and what player do you think has the most upside? Because they're all good, but they'll have their faults. Even Caleb Williams, Caleb Williams, for all the good stuff that he does, off platform, and the killer arm that he has, that's evident. You got to remember, for his entire collegiate career at Oklahoma and now at USC, that offense is RPO base, one read and go. So he hasn't shown that he can be a real processor of the field. I said my speak on Drake May. I think that pressure situations, and he's got a little bit of happy feet. I question some of that stuff. His real makeup, his floor might be lower than what people let on to. And then Jaden Daniels has really only done it for 1 year. So, there's that too. So
I think it's a very volatile class. I don't love Caleb Williams because his win-loss record against winning teams is piss poor. It's really not good.
A lot of people will bring that point up that he doesn't play great against good defenses. But the talent is evident, you know what I mean? And like I said, the draft is, so swayed heavily towards traits, man.
Yeah. Now, so let's say the Giants go receiver at 6. You think 7's offensive lineman? The Titans?
I think the Titans are probably the only team that I'm willing to lock in as taking a tackle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think if they have their choice, I think it's going to be Joe Alt.
Yeah, I think most people who are looking at the tackles are feeling probably the same way with that. So then at number 8, Tankathon has the Falcons taking Penix. I don't think that's going to be the case because I think they are going to make a trade for Justin Fields, and I think they're going to use the 43rd overall pick for that, like one of our callers said earlier tonight. And I would bet you'll see one of Brian Johnson or Ben Johnson.
There's a bunch of different ways that they can go. If I don't think that you'll see although I like Bo Nix. Although I like Bo Nix, I don't think he's a top 10 player. I don't, I think he's more of he's a guy that's probably a second round pick that maybe a team trades up from the top of the second round into the bottom of the first to get that extra 5th year. I think they have so many other holes. You need another cornerback opposite AJ Terrell. You need another edge rusher opposite Arnold Ebiketie. You need to find your Grady Jarrett replacement. So you need a defensive line. You need, edge rusher. Yeah. Rome Odunze makes a ton of sense there as well. They need a second wide receiver. I think they only have one wide receiver. I think they only have Drake London under contract after this year. So wide receiver could be in play as well. Again, new offense, new scheme that actually might decide to use the wide receivers as opposed to Arthur Smith.
So if we pencil in, say, either a Dallas Turner or a Latu there, then the Bears at number 9. What do you think is the most likely route they go there, assuming they go quarterback or wide receiver? Let's call quarterback at the top because that's what we were saying. Quarterback at number 1 overall. What do you think they do at 9? Receiver?
Again, can go a bunch of different ways. I think Rome Odunze will be on the table. Yeah, I think Rome Odunze will be on the table if he's still on the board. A good compliment to DJ Moore. He's your X build, and then DJ Moore is your Z running, all around the formation. I think tackle could make sense. They can always move Braxton Jones inside to a guard spot. So tackle might be on the table. Like I said, they have a bunch of different holes. They could use another cornerback. They could use another edge rusher. Maybe that's where, a Latu or Jared Verse or Dallas Turner comes off the board.
Now, then that brings us to the Jets. So let's say Alton Fashanu are off the board. They went 5 and 7 in some capacity. Those 2 offensive linemen. Where are you leaning if the board breaks that way? We're saying Odunze is gone.
So if we're saying that the Chargers took a tackle. We're saying 5 and 7. They went the tackles off the board. The decision comes. The decision comes between: do you take your next favorite or next best tackle? You know, which could be a bevy of different players. You know, I know Fuag is the hot name, and that makes sense. But they could like J.C. Latham more. They
Do you
could
like
Armarius
Mims at all?
I really like Armarius Mims. The only problem I have with Mims is that he just hasn't done it all that much. You know,
He's only done it for, I think, 8 starts. I think he's been active for 30 games.
Yeah, yeah. He hasn't. He started last year when
in the playoffs.
Yeah, when the tackle, and what's his face, who went to Pittsburgh when he
Jones
opted out. Yeah, Jones. When Jones, he came in and started there. And then this year he had the high ankle, so he missed a ton of games. So
he had surgery on it too, and then he aggravated it in the SEC title game.
Yeah, the talent is there. You know, the athleticism is there. I mean, the measurables are through the roof.
I think he's got the highest upside of all the tackles. Like him,
it's all he is going to be the high, like you said, the ceiling's going to be super high, but the floor could be super low because you just don't know what's going to come on. I happen to like him. I don't know. I think I honestly think that 10 might be too rich for any of them. You know,
I agree.
In an ideal situation, I'd love for someone to really want to get ahead of Denver and get Bo Nix or Michael Penix or that next quarterback off the board, and maybe you can move down a little bit. But listen, gun to my head right now, I'm, without knowing what happens in free agency, I think you probably have to lean tackle, and it's going to come down to how Joe Douglas has these guys ranked. Brock Bowers is definitely in the equation. Like it or not, Jets fans, he's going to be part of the conversation. Whether or not we think that the tight end moniker is a mistake or not, I mean the guy's a superior, like a super talented player, so he's going to be in the conversation.
So good. I would when I start looking at like tackle 3, 4, 5, that's where I start getting a little shaky because it's like, you know what, I see AVT's 5th-year option coming, and it's going to be paid like a top tackle. So I think the proper move is to move him to one of the tackle spots. I don't think you necessarily have to choose right now, and it could be a decision that you make come training camp. Like you could say, all right, in free agency, we're going to try and go after Jonah Williams. Well, we didn't get him. Okay, well, we were able to get, Bakhtiari, and, we don't feel great about it. And then, oh no, let's see if we can get a tackle in the draft. Maybe you're feeling better about right tackle in the draft at that point, and then you have AVT as your emergency left tackle for Bakhtiari. Maybe you feel that way. Or maybe it's something that's because it really, I guess you don't necessarily need AVT to be tackle next year. His 5th-year option kicks in 2 years from now. I don't know. I don't know if we have much of a connection with Tyron Smith. Bakhtiari doesn't like the turf at MetLife. Can we attract Jonah Williams, and is he worth giving a lot of money to? Like, I don't know if he is. And then I don't
think he is. I don't think that Jonah Williams is going. He's gonna net something high. He's gonna net probably $18 million a year, because that's what the second and third tier tackles in free agency get. I mean, look at last year. I mean, Orlando Brown was the cream of the crop last year. He got 20 something. He was pretty bad, right? The guy who went to Denver from San Francisco, McGlinchey, $18 million a year, 33-year-old tackle, $18 million a year. He's been awful. Juwan Taylor went from Jacksonville to Kansas City. He was awful, $20 million a year. I mean, so that's what those level guys get. I'd rather. I said this before. I do a show with Buffalo. I really think that there's a better chance that AVT's our left tackle going into 2025 or 2024. I think that might be the best case scenario, and then you could draft the right tackle, and let them go into camp and work it out with Carter Warren to fight it out. And the winner starts, and the loser is your backup. I'm not worried about filling the right guard spot, because you can find good quality guards, in the mid rounds, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, where we happen to have a plethora of picks. So,
Yeah, I like the idea of bringing McGovern back too on the cheap. If he'll sign another 1.2 or $1.9 million deal, him, Tittman, and Wes all have experience at guard, all have experience at center. I feel like that flexibility is going to be super important, especially if you want to be flexible with AVT. I would love to find a way. I think I'm falling for Bowers. Like, honestly, I would love to find a way to get Bowers. Like, because I don't like, sort of like you said, I don't love the next 3 tackles at 10. I really don't. I'm hoping one of Fashanu or Alt falls and then AVT becomes right tackle for us. That's I think the dream, and that's what, the last 2 wins kind of cost us, unfortunately. But man, it's gonna be a frustrating situation. I don't know if there's anyone like on the trade market that's possibly available that the Jets could look at. Like, can you swing like a Huff for an expiring contract tackle that is coming up? I don't know.
Yeah, listen. I can tell you this is that we're not going to go into the season with 2 starting tackles coming out of this draft class. I think that's going to be some blend of a rookie and a veteran. Whether that veteran is AVT or whether that veteran is someone in the, kind of second, third, fourth tier guy, like when we brought in Fant, like when we, a stopgap guy, when we brought in Morgan Moses, something along those
Trent
lines.
Brown. Trent Brown on left, right tackle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much he would cost. I don't know how old he is. I know he's older.
He's got to be 31 or
New England has another tackle that's a free agent as well. The kid from Michigan, actually, he started as guard and has been playing right tackle. Onwesu, I believe that's the name, Michael Onwesu.
Yeah, let me see.
He's a little bit more enticing to me just because of his age and his power profile. I love the fact that.
So Brown's 31.
Brown's again is probably a $20 million guy.
You think so? You think that's the market for him?
I think 15 to 20 is the going rate for these free agent tackles. I think that's what Becton's going to get. Becton's going to get somewhere between 12 and 20.
Fuck, really? Damn. Yo, I'd be so mad if we get. I do not want Becton back at all. I do not think he's worth it.
I don't think it's, and forget about worth it or not. I just think that I don't think the coaching staff wants Becton back.
No,
the only tie right now is Aaron Rodgers, is the relationship with him and Aaron Rodgers.
Do you think there's? I keep having this gut feeling. I really think Michigan winds up winning. Good job. I think Bakhtiari is going to find his way to New York. I honestly, I'm for it. I would rather give him an incentive-laden deal and roll the dice on his knee being better with AVT as the emergency left tackle. And then, ideally you have Bakhtiari left tackle, AVT right tackle, and they stay healthy. And then you have McGovern, Tittman, Wes. Runyon, I think, is coming over from Green Bay, who's played next to Bakhtiari the last few years. I could see him being our left guard next season.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I just don't know how you can trust that knee, man. I get it. I get the connection with Bakhtiari, but you might be hoping against hope on damaged goods, and we've been through that already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if the backup plan is AVT, like I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you think you can financially set yourself up where you're not impacting your cap if Bakhtiari misses games. Like, I'm not saying pay him $20 million flat out right now, or $30 million or whatever the heck he's gonna command. But I would say, if you're healthy, like, hey, you're active, you're on the roster, you're starting, you are getting paid like a top tackle. You like 100%. And then if you get hurt, we're protected because of it. That's the type of deal I would try to get at with him, because he's the top 5 tackle if he's healthy. And I think that's the gamble of all gambles, when you have a guy that's best friends with him as your quarterback and you got tackle problems. And then AVT looked like a good right tackle. I'm cool with AVT getting bumped out to tackle. And then that opens up your little like draft pick, and you're looking at 10. Then I think Bowers becomes attractive. Because then you play a situation of like, well, he can block in line and he can roll out to the slot. So you got receiver / tackle at the same time, like a tackle receiver hybrid. And
Yeah,
then,
and he's
and then you find a way to get Devontae Adams, like maybe trade the 2025 second or something like that to go get him. I don't necessarily love going after Devontae, but like when you start piecing those puzzle pieces together, it's not that bad.
I would
It's a
say
risk.
this though. Ryan. We all know, whether we want to believe it or not, how much influence or how much meddling Woody does. I don't think that he's going to sign off on any future draft capital being parted with.
I'm glad. I'm happy about that. That's
because
like,
you don't know if this regime's going to last through or past 2024, right?
I'm terrified we're going to give up like a 25 first or something like that for something stupid. We have like $100 million in cap space in 2025, and you better believe Douglas is going to start spending some of that money.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think he's going to get clearance. I don't think he's going to. Woody's going to sign off on him, mortgage in the future for guys that are in lame duck seasons and have probably, like it or not, been given ultimatums. Right? If they got this freebie coming into 2024, there's definitely an ultimatum on the board saying, "Hey, listen, this is it's do or die here." And Joe Douglas kind of intimated at that, not so directly in his press conference today,
Yeah,
saying we got to win.
Both him and Salah both understand, like, yeah, we got to win. Like that, like this is legit. Like we were given a gift by having the ability to come back because of Aaron Rodgers' injury. When really, like, the rest of the league looked fine with backup quarterbacks. Like this was a piss poor season for the coaching staff, and I'm not super enthusiastic about it, and there is part of me that thinks maybe just pulling the plug isn't the worst decision, but I don't know who you would get. Like I don't think we're at best, if we were to pull the plug, you're maybe the 4th or 5th best option in terms of like landing spot. I don't think you're higher than the Chargers, because I think LA and Herbert is more attractive than our situation, even though I think we have the better roster and some flexibility moving forward. I think Atlanta is probably the most attractive given the division and the talent that's already there. I think they're a lock to get one of Kirk Cousins or Justin Fields.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Fields is going to be the wild card. What does Chicago keep him or do they move him? And if they move him, they're gonna, there's gonna be a bidding war there because there's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks, right? I'm not saying he's a perfect fit for all these teams, but just off the top of my head, the teams that need quarterbacks, right? Denver, we know the top 3. We know New England, we know Washington. We talked about the Giants possibly needing one. Denver needs a quarterback. Minnesota needs a quarterback. Seattle, low key needs a quarterback. They need a quarterback in the future. Right, they're going to be out of Geno's contract next year, so maybe that's a place where like one of these 2nd or 3rd round guys go, like JJ McCarthy or Michael Pratt from Tulane,
or Penix from Washington, a local guy going there, like ish, local-ish, I guess.
Yeah, well, Penix is hurt again. Shocker.
Oh shit! Yeah, he's holding his stomach.
Yeah, he played. I think it's his ribs. I think he played hurt that whole last quarter. He gutted it out, man.
He's a gritty guy, but dude, I don't know how you roll the dice on him too high.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Ugh. All right, Dom, I'm gonna hop off here, and I will. Matt Greenby and I have been talking. We want to definitely touch base, probably in the next week or two, to discuss some draft stuff, things of that nature. So I'm looking forward to it. If you guys have not checked out Dom C's Project Prospect, you got to check it out. Dude knows his shit. Dom, you want to plug your stuff?
Hey, Project Prospect with Dom C. There's now is go time. There's a ton of draft content going out. I'm also co-hosting on Monday mornings through this draft cycle on Boy Green's channel, 7:30 a.m. We do a Monday mock. That's solely Jets draft related stuff. So if regular straight up draft related stuff isn't your thing and you're more interested about the Jets, come check us out on Monday mornings on Boy Green's channel. And that's it, man. Looking forward. I'm going to the Senior Bowl again, so looking forward to getting some more intel and more insight on some of these guys live and in the flesh. So pretty cool.
I love it. And Dom C is going to keep his eye on one of our favorite prospects. Is going to be down there, Fuaga.
Yes,
right tackle out of Oregon State. So that's going to be
a lot of good guys. There's going to be a lot of good guys down there, man. A lot of good guys. But
the
Fuaga's
Senior
going to
Bowl
be
is for like the gritty off-season like draft junkies. Like people don't pay attention to the Senior Bowl except for like the nutcases around here, and it's awesome.
like me.
Oh yeah, yep. I'm right there with you, dude. All right, Dom
Hey, listen.
C.
Hope you get. I hope you get good use out of the draft guide. By the way,
It's
use
a
it as
great draft guide. I've been
use it as
talking about it all night. Like it's really cool. It at least like gives me a good point of reference to start. And like
That's it.
someone will bring up a player that I just have not researched, and I'll be like, boom, I got some notes right here, and Dom C's the fucking man on it. All right,
Well,
Dom C,
all right, Ryan.
you, boom,
I'm out.
you've been ejected from the cockpit, boys and girls. That was the call-in show. Like I said, make sure you check out Project Prospect with Dom C. Dude knows his stuff. Always fun to have him on. And we'll have him on in the future as well. I think next week, I got to talk to Blewett. I think I might have Blewett on next week for the Monday show. So if you guys want to hang around with that next week, make sure you tune in. Other than that, check out the sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, Jets 24/7. Receive a $100 match on your first deposit. But that's going to be it for me. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Talking Jets with Greenbean, O'Leary, and myself. As always, go Jets.